I call the City Commission of the City of Pahokee regular commission work meeting of Tuesday, October 12th, 2021 to order at 6:06 p.m. Will you please stand for the invocation provided by Minister J.C. Foster, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Most Heavenly Father, Lord, in your precious name, as we come today, Lord, we give you thanks for this day, Lord. We give you thanks for this meeting. Lord, we ask you, Lord, to help to lead us, Lord, help me to lead this group, this state, Father, oh God, in the way it should go. We realize, Lord, that we can't do nothing without you. Oh God, you said it in your word. Father, we ask you to help us tonight. Oh God, we realize that this city needs to be healed tonight. Yes. Father, we know that your word said, where there's 2 or 3 gathered in my name, you are in the midst. And Father, we're going to give you praises, we want to give you glory, and we give you thanks. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Mayor Bab.
Present.
Vice Mayor Boland.
Here.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Here.
Commissioner Mervin.
Present.
Commissioner Perez.
Here.
City Manager.
Present.
City Attorney.
Here.
City Clerk. Present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Thank you, staff, and thank each of our residents for being here tonight to participate in our regular scheduled commission meeting of Tuesday, October the 12th. At this time, we'll move right into our agenda, which will be now the additions, deletions, or approval agenda items. City Manager, at this time, do we have any additions or deletions from the agenda?
Mr. Mayor, I have one. Pursuant to the Commission's instructions at the last agenda, I would request that Resolution 2021-38, which is the City Manager contract, be added on under the regular agenda items number 2.
Did you say 38?
Yes, 2021-38.
Thank you.
And I believe they're available to be passed out.
They're over.
Oh, they already are. Members of the public have extra copies in the back that they can look at.
This was just given to me.
Okay.
This is,
Is your resolution number?
38.
Mr. Chair, I have one other. An RFP was sent out for a new engineer, and 3 submitted proposals, and I have a recommendation tonight for we discuss.
another add-on
Yeah.
with, could you repeat it, though, for me?
We had sent out an RFP for hiring a new engineer. We had 3 proposals, and I have a recommendation tonight. It came late. It's not a resolution, but we can discuss it, and you can move on it if you so choose.
Okay. Let's take each of these add-on items individually. The first one would be to add on Resolution 2021-30.
38.
38. Okay, that's a resolution for the city manager contract. We'll move a motion if that's the pledge of the commission in a second.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I make a motion that we add Resolution 2021-38 to tonight's agenda.
I second it.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Boland and properly second by Commissioner Perez to add Resolution 2021-38 onto the agenda. Call for questions.
I have a question, Mayor. We just got this here sitting on our desk here tonight. Now, previously, they wanted the stuff to be given to us 5 to 7 days prior. So tonight, I don't think we should be reviewing this tonight due to, we just got it sitting here on our desk tonight.
In addition to questions, I'll make a question. I definitely 100% agree with that. That was going to be my same comment. This is an important resolution in reference to the agreement of the city manager contract. And unless we're just basically going to try to go over this line by line like commission normally attempt to do, I don't know how we can do it tonight. Neither was just brought to our attention. I think this need to be delayed at least our next commission meeting so we can go over it and have the questions we need to ask and pertaining to it.
Could we go over this today?
I'd be happy to
It
go
can be
over it line by
lengthy.
line if you would like to, Mayor, tonight.
Mayor Bab, I don't have questions tonight just looking at this. I need to look it over.
Yeah.
I would like to look it over. I don't think it's fair. It's the same thing as if Commissioner Bolden would address it, the same thing she had a problem with in the past and getting stuff the same day and going through it. So I'm in concurring with her and with her saying as in we should have this prior to the meeting.
Yeah. But I definitely favor not proceeding with it tonight, so I don't know if there are going to be any similar concerns or questions. I know in the past, I don't think this would have been fair to the commission to give it to them at this late hour and expect for this to be approved. That's just normal what's been going on, but lately it just...
I can't hear back here.
Okay, I'll try to speak louder. I just think it's important that we have enough time on major contracts and agreements that we're asked to pass, to have the time to really look over it, to be able to have an informed decision made. I don't know if Gonzalez, you had any comments you wanted to make. I don't know if I cut you off or not.
I mean, in fairness, I see what she's talking about. I can't, say that it'll be unfair or fair, but could we do this in a special meeting this week? Why should we wait 2 weeks? It only takes maybe an hour to read it.
What's the rush? He's working now.
Well, there's no rush.
He's still in the chair. So
I mean, that's true.
What's the rush, He's
Well,
still getting paid. He's still getting paid the salary. He's still doing the job. So it's not taking anything from him.
If the man wants to.
Mayor, if I might suggest, you might consider adding it to your agenda and then having me explain it line by line for you. And if at that point you have any issues or any questions about it, you can always postpone it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, if there's no additional question, I just know in the past, these commission up here would never approve or never even entertain a major contract that's being brought before us at the last minute hour.
Right, but he's saying you can postpone it if you need more time.
Okay,
He said he's willing to go over it line by line. If you have any questions, if you.
well, we
still
know
have
certain
issues.
commissioner probably won't ask question is Brandon Byrd is proposing it and drafting it.
That's so unfair.
No, it's not unfair,
It is unfair because you did that for the past 5 years and you never complained about it.
I never
And
got
we're
it.
not doing that.
All right, we have a motion in addition to questions. Hearing none, roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Is this to go over today or?
To go over it today, yes.
Okay, yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
No.
You can
Mayor
postpone.
Bab,
No. Motion passed by a majority 3-2 vote. that item would be added on to the agenda. The next item is the RFP for the new engineering. I'd entertain a motion if that's the desire of this commission to entertain, address that item tonight as an add-on.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we add the engineering, the people who came in, three, you said, came in
For the recommendation.
to the agenda tonight.
I second it.
It is a move by Vice Mayor Boland and properly second by Commissioner Perez for the add on the RFP for the new engineering. Call for question.
I have a question, Mayor. When did the RFP go out? Because I don't think we even voted to send out an RFP for an engineer.
It was an
Yeah, you did.
RFQ.
You did. And it went out about a month ago.
No,
So-
well, Mr. Brady, let the city attorney, the city manager answer, please. But, Mr. Thompson, when did the RFP go out? Because I don't remember the RFP going out for engineer.
A month or maybe just over.
Well, I know you're gonna answer that.
We
But
just received.
do you have a
it.
copy of the RFP? Because I don't see a copy, we didn't get a copy of the RFP that went out.
RFQ.
It's RFQ. It's the same
RFQ,
RFQ.
RFP,
It's
whatever
a
you wanna call it,
It's the same RFQ that you used previously.
but that's not what I'm saying. I'm
select
asking,
engineers.
when did it go out for a
A
new
month and
RFQ?
a month and, over a
Can we
month ago.
please get a copy of the RFQ
Sure.
that went out for the engineer?
Of course. Of course you can.
And
Because I don't
my-
remember
Are
that
we
coming to the
supposed to, are
commission
we
meeting.
supposed to go over the RFQs
No.
before they go
No,
out?
no, you don't, but you know when it
You all
goes
voted,
out.
you all voted to put it out for RFQ. We used the same RFQ we
What's-
did the last two
I don't-
times
I
you
don't- I
did
didn't see
this,
that.
the same one. And those candidates have now submitted. And tonight, you should decide if you want to interview them, if you want to just rank them, whatever. Whatever decision you make tonight,
Yeah.
it would have to come back in the form of a contract with the engineer with a resolution approving it in the future for you to look at and carefully look at it under the microscope.
What date was the request made by the commission and what was the vote on that? I don't recall this commission requesting a RFP to go out for engineering
I believe it
firm.
was August 11th. I did the agenda item. It was in your backup,
Yeah.
and it was voted on that day.
What was the vote? Did I vote in favor of it?
I don't recall what your vote was, sir. I'm not even sure you were at that meeting. I'm
Oh.
not sure.
No.
Maybe that's the reason why.
No.
City attorney, city clerk, do you have the minutes of that and what day it was and what was the vote on that? Maybe it was one of those special meetings that some of us wasn't privy to.
The August 11th, you weren't present. Commissioner Mervin wasn't present at the August 11th meeting. It was a special meeting.
And also with the RFQ, the commission don't rank the, who wins the bid. That's not up to the commission.
Well, actually, it is.
But still, the RFQ, it did, that's another fly-by-night thing. That did not happen, so I don't see how we vote on the RFQ. That's, nah.
Mr. Mayor, under that process, it's called the CNA, that process which the city's gone through many times. The staff makes a recommendation to you on the rankings, and then you decide if that's the ranking you want. Same way you've done it the last 3 times it's gone out for RFQ, where you were present and so were you, Commissioner
But that's
Mervin.
not the question. The question is on RFQ for engineering now, did not go out for a bid. It did not go out. You can sit there and say
It did.
that on August 11th, we did an RFQ. No, it did not. But go ahead. You know, you got your votes right here.
Okay.
Go and do what you got to do anyway, so. But it's not right.
My follow-up question would be, what problem did we have with the past engineer that prompted your recommendation to make a change because it appears that anyone that,
If you had been at that meeting, sir, you would have heard that and been able to vote on it. Unfortunately, you decided not to come to the meeting.
I guess that was one of,
But the answer to your question is, for one, he just submitted a $400,000 bill for work allegedly done starting in 2017. So there isn't an engineer in the state that I'm aware of that'll wait 4 years to be paid on a project. So we're auditing that entire grant right now to find out what the heck's going on. I talked with that engineer, A&E, you know. I talked with their Tallahassee attorney. The attorney didn't know. He got me some information, but it was not responsive to my request. We still don't know why in the heck he submitted a bill for $400,000 to Mr. Lucas the day or two before Lucas left. Don't know, but we're going to find out.
But a question on that, I know looking at that spreadsheet, it's actually for the work also for Barfield Highway. And from my understanding, actually, this is actually gonna hurt the project on Barfield Highway. So I hope our citizens be aware that this is gonna hurt the project, might even stop the project.
It won't.
It might even stop the project.
It won't.
It might even recall the money for the project.
No, they
So,
won't.
Mr. Burnham, can I please finish?
Well,
But I know for a fact that some of the projects for Barfield Highway is not, as he's stating, that it's back pay of $400,000. It's actually for the project of Barfield Highway.
maybe
So
you can
some of-
explain to us what that bill for $400,000
Well, I can't explain all
is.
of it, but I know some of it's for, I did see it. I did see the spread, because I did get a copy of it.
Okay.
And a lot of it is for a Barfield Highway
got a
project.
copy of it?
And I also know
Virginia,
that
you got a copy of
before Mr. Thompson came, that when Ms. Adams was here, she tried to bring a resolution for one of the payments, which I'm not mistaken, like it was 69, whatever, but we could never get to the resolution that night because the commission would never get that far in the meeting.
That's what we're hoping to resolve.
But I know for a fact, and I don't think you could just stop an engineer in the middle of a project, of a state-funded FDOT project.
Well, yeah, you can.
And-
There's no engineer in the state of Florida
But believe it
that's
or
going
not-
to continue to work when
Believe
the
it or
government
not,
owes them
believe it or-
$400,000.
Mr. Brandenburg, I'm not done. Believe it or not, this is gonna hurt the project for Barfield Highway.
Not a bit.
This is gonna also, because your contractors cannot get paid
No, that's a
unless your
different issue.
engineers sign off on phases of a project. So I guarantee you, this project is gonna be a prolonged project. I guarantee you that.
I'll take that bet.
If I might say, A&E was part of the design of Barfield project. The design portion is closed out. Momentum is our project engineer.
They also have to sign off on it, Mr. Thompson. Believe me, I've talked to these
Okay.
people also. They have to also
Okay,
sign off.
I have something to say. If I remember correctly, the Barfield Highway, the engineer alone was $475,000.
For the-
$525.
For the design- for the
Yes,
design of the
it was
project.
just that. So to say that the 400,000 is Barfield and the other project from 17, that is ludicrous.
You don't
It's
know whether from
ludicrous.
17 or not. You don't know
Yes,
the facts
yes,
of that
it was
yet.
475, and I haven't seen nothing to justify. I even requested the engineer's contract, which states no percentage of what they're supposed to get paid, no fee, no nothing, it's blank. It's just that he's gonna be used, and whatever fee he comes with, that's the fee that we go by.
Mr. Mayor,
And
if
I'm
you add
sorry,
the
just
item
for
on,
that
we could
piece of road,
discuss it when you get to it.
475.
I'm allowing them that ask their question, she has a
Yes, sir.
comment or a question.
I'm sorry.
Rivera, you cannot, right now, you cannot tell an engineer what their charges are. Let's say, for example, for Big Dog Garbage, he's charging almost over what? What
It
is
was
his?
a bid.
It
It was
was
a
a bid,
bid.
the same as a bid with the contractor.
No, it's
Hold on,
not.
hold on.
No, it's
Big
not.
Dog
But what I'm saying
Sanitation
is,
not an
listen, but
engineering
all I'm
firm.
saying is, but whatever his charges are, we agreed to pay that.
What
So
is
it's
the
same-
charges? Because I requested it. And all they gave me was a contract that didn't state what he's getting paid.
Mr.
No,
Chair.
it doesn't. I have
Mr.
it.
Chair.
I read it from beginning to
Can the
end.
commission please debate at the proper time after a second?
It's wrong.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
No.
Mayor Bab.
No. Motion passed by a majority 3-2 vote. That item would be added on the new business. Also, the first item we address would be on the new business also, as far as the agenda.
Well, the first
Okay,
item
those-
was a resolution, so it should be on, under item 2, resolutions,
Okay.
21-38.
Yeah, the minutes don't say resolution though, even a heading of resolutions.
Which one are you talking about, Mayor?
Okay.
The engineering one?
The contract for the,
Manager,
Yeah.
yes, there's a resolution, resolution number 2021-38.
I understand that. I'm saying the agenda, the outline of the agenda don't have resolutions.
It does,
here.
under
Down at
G,
the bottom.
look under G, regular agenda,
G2.
first is ordinances,
Okay,
then
gotcha.
resolution.
Okay,
Right
Had to
there,
look for it
okay.
too.
yep.
Okay. Now we'll taking both of those votes, so we're good as far as the add-ons and deletions. We'll move to the acceptance of the agenda as presented with the two add-on. One is Resolution 2021-38, and the other one is the RFP for the engineering firm. I entertain a motion to that effect.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the agenda with the 2 additions.
I second it.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Boland and properly moved by Commissioner Perez for the acceptance of the agenda items with the 2 add-ons. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
No.
Mayor Bab.
No. Motion passed by a 3-2 majority. Next, we have on the agenda our citizen comments. 3 minutes on agenda items and other comments. City Clerk, at this time, do we have any comment card by residents?
Yes, sir. First comment card, Ms. Cowan.
Good evening. I want to speak on ordinance 88-5, 1C, 5-24, 1988, under duties of the city attorney, section 2.83. The ordinance says the city attorney shall prepare or review all contracts, bonds, and other instruments in which the city is concerned and shall endorse thereon approval or disapproval of legal sufficiency of the form. No contract with the city shall take effect until it has been so endorsed as approved by the city attorney. I just want the citizens of Pahokee to know that we see tonight that a contract has just been given tonight when they came in to the commission on the contract for the city manager. They said some would be in the back. There's none in the back for us to even look at. We haven't even had privilege as citizens to look at the contract. But prior to, I know Commissioner Boland and Commissioner Perez had problems with things being brought to them the same night. But here they said they ran on transparency, they're gonna stop all of this. But as we can see, they're doing the same exact thing. Bringing a contract in here tonight to approve for this commission, I think is wrong, because they have not even had the time to even look at the contract. And just remember, when people leave and we get these payouts, the same attorney is the one who wrote these contracts. I see he complained about when Williamson left. He wrote that contract for Williamson. All these contracts that are being written, the city attorney is writing these contracts. Brandenburg writing these contracts, and when they leave and the city has to pay out all of this money, The city attorney is okaying these contracts that are being written. So I just want the citizens to know that and understand that as well. Now I want to talk about ordinance 89-4, 3-28, 1989, section 2.91 on the qualifications of the city manager. The city ordinance says, no city commissioner shall be eligible to serve in the position of city manager until the expiration of 1 year from the date of that party last served as a commissioner. Mayor Barb, I'm asking you as a citizen, can you check with IG to find out if there a loophole? Because this is what the city of Pahokee ordinance says. It doesn't say just serve in Pahokee as a commissioner. This is what Pahokee ordinance says, and I'm asking and requesting that you check with IG to see, is there a loophole that Mr. Thompson can serve as our commissioner, who was elected a 2-year term as vice mayor in the city of Clewiston in November 2020 and appointed vice mayor in 2020, and his term is not up until 2022. I'm asking if you can do that so the citizens of Pahokee can understand that. Thank you.
Mayor, you could ask for a formal Attorney General opinion. It wouldn't be appropriate to ask the Inspector General for a legal opinion, but you could ask the Attorney General of the state of Florida for one. It's a process. I'd be happy to do that for you.
I'm requesting, Mayor, and that you ask IG Mayor.
Her time is up,
requesting.
Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
Her time is up.
IG.
Just
Okay, there is
a
no
quick
IG, but-
follow-up too with Mr. Thompson. Have you resigned as the vice mayor for the city of Clewiston or not?
I have not.
I have a question. That ordinance, that's the ordinance of the city of Pahokee, right?
I believe it is, yes. Regarding the city attorney duties?
No, regarding the city manager.
Oh, it has nothing to do with him. That ordinance says that city commissioners of Pahokee.
That's what I was getting. Is
Obviously meant to be.
It's
Really
for
don't say city of
Pahokee.
Pahokee.
Yeah.
That's not what it
No, it
says.
does not.
The language definitely need to be
This
clear.
resolution does not apply in any other
No.
city, so.
It says no
Yeah.
commissioner.
Mr. Mayor, can you
It says
stop
no
all this
city of
crosstalk out
So
there,
let's just
please?
talk about that for a second. Suppose a person was the city manager for a city in Montana, right? And then came down here and applied to be your city manager. Are you possibly suggesting that the language in the city ordinance would prevent that? Because that's totally ludicrous. And that's essentially what you're asking the IG. By the way, there is no IG. It's a AG. And that's the Attorney General of the state of Florida, which I
Yeah.
said we can ask a formal opinion for.
The-
Be happy to do so.
Yeah, the most appropriate question would be not someone in a different state, but say in the state of Florida who's an elected official.
That's fine.
Our
State of
language
Florida.
is not that clear, so
That's very
she
clear.
is right to interpret it that way because it don't say
No,
only a
she's not
commissioner
right.
from
Not even
Pahokee.
close. It'll never be
I say to
interpreted
interpret it the way she interpreted, she is right to interpret it that way. The language
that way.
doesn't
She does have that right,
specify.
of course.
Okay.
And if I'm not mistaken, it also says that in the Clewiston ordinances.
It doesn't matter if it is or not.
Okay. In additional questions? I'm sorry, I'm not questioning. Any additional comments?
Miss Annie Core?
Good evening. Annie Core, 8832 Eldorado Drive, Pahokee, Florida. I stand in front of you because I have a concern. And that concern I'm trying to understand, why did Ms. Tasha Mervin call my name and stated that I said that she was knocking on doors for the recall? I have not said anything about her, not have I spoke about her, and I'm tired of the lies. I did not say anything about her. But I can say this, when the citizen had their recall, she went in the box because the lady called me and told me that she was in the box, and she told her, she asked her, why did you know that I signed on that? And she said, because I'm looking in the box right now. You know, enough is enough. And like I sit out here and I look at the dais. Respect is needed for the dais. Everybody deserves respect. And everybody should be treated with respect. That don't make no sense up there, what is going on. And I just want to say to the ones that lost loved ones, like I have, I just like to tell you all, you have my condolences in Pahokee for your child, your mother, your sister, your brother, or whoever. You have my condolences, because it's a hard thing to look and see your loved one gone, and then all this ruggery going on in Pahokee. It should stop. Time out for it. We need to pray and get our city back in order. Thank you.
Mayor Val, can I address Ms. Anacor?
Yes, you may.
Well, Ms. Anacor, there was a post on Facebook on your page, and it called out my name. That's why I addressed that night. And
No, I didn't say anything.
If I could pull up the post.
I didn't say anything about you on nothing.
Okay,
On nothing, ma'am.
Once I pull up the
Nothing.
post, I will send
But
it
I
to
could tell you what I said about you when I was out there doing the recall.
No, I will get
That
the
was
facts.
then.
I'm gonna get the facts.
That was
I will
then.
show it to you.
That was
on your
then.
page.
Baby, don't sit there and tell a story.
I'm
on
gonna
the
show
phone.
it to you.
Don't
then
do
you
it
see.
because you're supposed to be a Christian.
That's why I'm gonna
You
show
don't
it
supposed
to
to do
you.
stuff like that.
That's why I'm gonna show it to you.
Christians don't supposed to do stuff like that, because when time comes, we got to go into that pearly gate, baby. Have it
That's why I'm
correct.
gonna show it to you.
Have it
so you
correct.
can see
Don't
it.
don't sit there and tell lies on me. Have
I'm
it
gonna show it
correct.
to you facts.
I want it correct. Don't do
Okay.
that. Don't do that. Please don't do that.
You'll see facts.
Any additional comments, City Clerk?
No, sir.
Okay, that's conclude our comment. We thank our residents for those comments. Now we'll move to the approval of minutes. The minutes appearing under the consent agenda item. There are about 20 minutes. I'm just be perfectly honest, I don't even know how this commission is going to be able to vote on it. Some wasn't even here during that time. We got minutes from 2020 and earlier, so we'll see. And I do have concern. Well, I'll talk about it if we get a motion to move the consent agenda item, which consists of approximately 20 commission meetings and workshops.
Let me just add a comment here. Independent court reporter was hired to go back and review these meetings and to produce what's called action minutes, which basically just records what the commissioners did on each item. Now, there may be some exceptions in that list of 20, but that's essentially what happened, because the commission has berated the clerk in the past for not keeping up with minutes. We wanted to make sure that all your minutes were up to date going forward. And so you had an independent person look at this and make these minutes.
Could I ask what was her charge for this particular, these particular minutes?
What was her charge?
Yes. How much did we pay for that service?
I do not know that.
You didn't
How it
hire?
was done.
Who hired her?
Well, that would be, I think, either the clerk or the manager.
I don't know the clerk
suggested it.
hired. Who hired this individual? And what was the cost?
This was agreed upon while the previous city manager was here. These minutes are needed in
Okay.
reference for the budget audit. If it's not completed this week for the budget audit, the audit would not be in compliance for 2020 and 2019, 2020.
Okay. So did the previous city manager hire this individual?
No, he gave me approval to hire someone
Okay.
outside to type it up.
Okay, and how much was the cost for this item?
I don't want to give you an amount that's not true. I think it was about 1,000 and something.
For the entire 20 minutes?
Yes, for the 2020. She did from June the 9th to December the 20th, December the 8th, 2020.
Okay. In the agreement only call for an action minutes, the reason I'm asking, this minutes here make reference to the marina lease, and they say it was rejected or approved or whatever without indicating who was the entity that we was rejecting or approved. It's so vague on here. It don't even give me.
Action minutes only give you what was voted and what was said. Like, okay, you have resolution 2021-38 coming up tonight. Action minutes will only state whether it failed or passed 3-2. But if you want to relook at the video, you can look at the video and see who voted what. But it only
Videos are all
states,
public record.
yeah, they're public
on
record.
here, and
But-
anyone can look at them at any time.
the minutes are
there's any
actually
question.
needed in order to complete this audit. And they need this by Thursday of this week.
Anyone have any additional questions?
No, I just have a comment. Had they been done at the actual time, we would not have to pay to anybody or go through this now.
If you look at any commission, the way they function, you're not gonna always have minutes updated. So we keep going back on things what previous folks have done, and there's no way we can correct it anyway, but point taken.
But at the time, Mary, they didn't even have a city clerk. So you had an interim city clerk, all she was doing was taking the vote count of the meeting.
If I remember correctly, she got paid extra for that.
In additional questions? Do we have a motion to move these consent agenda items so we can make a vote?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda minutes from June 9th, 2020 to May 17th, 2021, with any changes necessary.
A second.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Bolden and properly second by Commissioner Perez for the consent agenda item to be approved. Call for questions.
I have one. City clerk, on July 28th, 2020, down toward the bottom, it says, motion passed with 2 ayes and 3 nays. So I don't, did it pass and those are backwards, or?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I have another question. All we're doing here is just, because I asked this question to the city clerk, and she told me that it was okay, because I said I wasn't elected at this time,
Yeah,
and
you're
I know
okay.
nothing
You're
about
okay.
it.
You're just affirming that these are minutes that you're approving for
That's
the
what-
audit purposes and otherwise.
Yeah, that's
We
what she
have
said.
the permanent record of the meeting is always there for anyone to come back and look at and listen to word for word. And in fact, if anyone ever chose to, they could go back and get a verbatim transcript of any meeting that you want. So this is just really a compliance thing.
Okay, just wanted it on record.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Bolden,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez.
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
No. Motion passed by a majority of 4-1 vote. Now we'll move to our regular agenda item, which will include the ordinance that was added on ordinance, I'm sorry. No, we don't have any ordinances or public hearing. The next agenda item is resolution. We do have one add-on resolution, which was Resolution 2021-38, the city manager contract.
Mayor Bab, can I just ask that if we can, I don't know why we didn't do that at the beginning, go ahead and do the line of the month, because we know that the city manager contract, since they want to go over it line by line, is going to take a minute, and also that RFQ. So if we can do the line of the month, if it's okay with the commission.
And I would say let's add that proclamation and get those two out of the way, so we have them done.
Which
Is that all right with you, Commissioner?
It's fine.
The line of the month recipient is here too?
Yes.
Okay.
You had a certificate of it.
Proclamation. We had,
Mayor Bab.
if I'm not mistaken, we had a motion and a second, or did we get to that point?
No, sir, we haven't gotten that point.
We didn't get to that point, okay. We'll entertain the request to alter our agenda to move line of the month up next, followed by the proclamation. And which proclamation was that you were referring to?
Lights
The
on,
lights on after school.
yeah, lights
Okay.
on after school proclamation, it said,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. Could we get we have a motion, could we get a second?
Second.
I think you made the motion. Didn't you?
Oh,
make
no, I think Commissioner
To
Irvin
move-
made
I'm
the
sorry.
motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Mervin and properly second by Vice Mayor Bolden that we change our order of our agenda to include the two items moved up, lawn of the month and the proclamation for lights on. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Yes,
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes, motion passed by unanimous vote. Now we'll take in order the lawn of the month presentation. City manager, could you give us the background on that?
I believe you have.
Yes, it was. Okay.
It's been a while, as requested by the mayor, we're starting this program again. It's lawn of the month. Ms. Dean keeps an eye on the citizens and chooses one that takes care of their lawn. And this customarily comes with a check, and she'll be delivering that to your house.
If the commission would join me in recognizing the Foston, Angela, and Minister Foston for their beautiful lawn of the month. If you all two could come up front, and we'll have our commissioner come down and.
what's
the-
their address, Keith, so? Does it say on it?
Yes. It's at 501 West Baines Terrace, Pahokee, Florida. 505. Normally, we have a picture. We would normally have a picture up too, so the public can see how beautiful the lines of the month is, but we don't this month, so that's fine. But as mayor of the city of Pahokee, it's given great honor and privilege on behalf of the Pahokee City Commission, Commissioner Clara Mervin, Commissioner Warren Gonzalez, Commissioner Perez, and Vice Mayor Bolden, and along with our city manager and our entire city staff, we no longer want to make your yard look beautiful, but it also make other than that community look beautiful. It's also increasing the value of those properties. So it is indeed a pleasure to present you with this certificate in addition to give you a token of our appreciation for keeping up with your lawn and making it look so beautiful. There's a check that goes along with it. And city manager, I did see the check.
Mr. Dean's going to deliver.
Okay, so we know we're gonna be responsible for the check.
If you don't show up, let me know.
I'm supposed to probably get it, but Miss Angela will actually spend it. So, but again, it's such a pleasure. We're gonna go ahead and present this beautiful certificate, and again, on behalf of the city commission, we certainly thank you for all your efforts to beautify not only your property, but the entire community property.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Big piece of my face.
Much better, much better.
And as always, we do have an opportunity to say a few words if you like, if you choose to. Thank you.
On behalf of the Postons, we would like to thank each and every one of you for this token of love. And it is indeed a privilege and pleasure to maintain our yards. That's something that I like, and I enjoy doing it. And we will continue to do it with or without this. Thank you so much, and God bless you all.
Thank you all. Next, we'll have the lights on after school proclamation, and we'll have our attorney read that into the record.
Mr. Mayor, this is a proclamation, Lights On After School Day. Whereas the citizens of the city of Pahokee are firmly committed to quality after-school programs and opportunities because they provide safe, challenging, and engaging learning experiences that help children develop social, emotional, physical, and academic skills. Support working families by ensuring their children are safe and productive after the regular school day ends. Build stronger communities by involving students, parents, business leaders, and adult volunteers in the lives of young people, thereby promoting positive relationships among youth, families, and adults. Engage family, schools, and community partners in advancing the welfare of our children. Whereas the Florida After School Network and our after-school providers who have provided significant leadership throughout the pandemic to keep kids engaged in learning and meet the needs of family in our communities, especially those who need extra support to catch up and accelerate their learning. Whereas Lights On After School, the national celebration of after-school programs held this year on October 28, 2021, promotes the importance of quality after-school programs in the lives of children, families, and communities. Whereas approximately 1.5 million children and youth in Florida are waiting right now for a spot in an after-school program, many of whom have no place to go after school. Whereas many after-school programs across the state are facing funding and staffing shortfalls so severe that they are being forced to close their doors and turn off their lights. Whereas the city of Pahokee is committed to investing in the health and safety of all young people by providing expanded learning opportunities that will help close the achievement gap and prepare young people to compete in the global economy. Now therefore, the City Commission of the City of Pahokee do hereby proclaim October 28, 2021 as Lights On After School Day and commit our city to invest and engage in proven after-school programs and activities that ensure the lights stay on and the doors stay open for all the children after school. Done this 12th day of October 21.
Thank you. City Commission, having had the proclamation properly read into the minutes by the city attorney, what would be your pleasure? Looking for-
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we accept the lights on after school proclamation.
Second it.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Bozen and properly seconded by Commissioner Gonzalez for the acceptance of the proclamation for lights on after school day. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for?
Yeah, I have a question. Because, I mean, this is just to set a day aside? Is that what this is?
It's a proclamation declaring October 28th a day of recognition of these programs.
Oh, okay.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Motion passed by unanimous vote. Now we'll move to the
Resolution number
2021-38.
2021-38. Yes, sir.
We'll have our attorney read that resolution into the record.
Mr. Mayor, this is a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Pahokee, Florida, authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for city manager services between the City of Pahokee and Greg Thompson. The contract is attached. I'll go through this line by line so everyone can read along and ask any questions that they may have. So the introductory paragraph is just that, has no substance. And the therefore clause, same thing. Number one, employment. He's being employed as the city manager pursuant to your charter and the terms set forth in the agreement. There's a general statement next in paragraph 2 regarding the duties of the manager, chief administrator, and executive of the city, responsible to the city commission for administering all municipal affairs and have the powers and duties as set forth in the city charter, ordinances, and otherwise directed by the city commissioners. Any questions so far? Professional obligations. So the manager is required to comply with the ICMA Code of Ethics, the Code of Ethics of the state of Florida, and the Code of Ethics of Palm Beach County, which is applicable here in the city of Pahokee.
I have a question on that. Is the, Mr. Thompson is he a part of the city manager, ICMA, organization already?
I don't know that answer to
So,
that
Mr.
question.
Thompson, are you a part of
I
the
am
city
not.
manager? Okay. Would you become a part of the city managers, the ICMA?
That is my plans. I've reached out already.
So right now, you're not?
Correct.
Contract doesn't require him
That's
to
not
be a
what I asked,
member
Mr.
as
Brandon,
now.
I'm just asking my question.
I understand. I was just trying to explain it for the residents that are listening, so they clearly understand that the contract doesn't require him to be a part of that right now. It doesn't require him to be a member in the future either. It just requires him to abide by the Code of Ethics adopted by the ICMA. So the term of the contract, and it's the same term that you've had in the past, contracts with other city managers, and that is the city manager serves at the pleasure of the city commission. And it doesn't limit the rights of the city to terminate the services of manager at any time for any reason pursuant to paragraph 9 of this agreement, and shall not prevent or limit the right of the manager to resign at any time pursuant to paragraph 10 of the agreement. And this agreement shall continue until terminated by the city pursuant to paragraph 9 or pursuant to paragraph 10. Any questions there?
Yeah, did you give us a chance to read 9 and 10?
Yeah, we'll get to those in a minute if you want to wait. So you can read that now? Okay, the next paragraph is compensation or manager benefits. Base salary is what he's already making, $120,000 a year. And he gets the same benefits enumerated herein, and he gets paid like any other city employee gets paid, and all your managers in the past have been paid. Performance review, just like you had for Chandler, but really never did it for Chandler. Beginning in January of '22, you're supposed to every year meet and conduct a review of the manager's performance and set goals for the manager for the coming year. And then he's supposed to be judged on his performance based upon his compliance with those goals. That's the same thing that was in Chandler's contract and was never done.
You make a lot of incorrect statements. His contract was reviewed every year. Have you saw it? Have you looked at any?
Yeah, I was here for 12 years. I wrote the contract.
Maybe those 12 you may have been asleep. He was interviewed.
No, he
and
wasn't. He was here for 5 years.
I give you my performance rating for each of those 5 years. Because you make a lot of incorrect statements.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have anything to do with the previous city
Thank you,
manager.
Mayor. Appreciate it.
And I'm going back on number 6. So we're paying the city manager the base salary of $120,000 with no experience as a city manager, none whatsoever. Even in the qualification when they were meeting with Mr. The guy that here for the city manager, one of the requirements of the that they asked for was a background. This is coming from the commission when they met with Mr. Kleiman. The requirement was a bachelor's degree is required, master's degree is preferred, engineering degree is desirable, 5 years experience in government or business management, preferably in local government, and experience in a diverse community. This is what the commission had put together for the city manager. Now, Mr. Thompson is not walking in any of these for the requirements. And we're starting his salary off with $120,000. That's to me is very ludicrous there.
Okay.
Even with the range, going back to the range of this commission, what they said, the starting salary should be $85,000. That's what this commission had agreed to.
I
Okay.
have something to say.
Those are good points, but there's no question for me there, so I'd like to go on with the contract and get through it if I could.
Can I just say something? Those were the gentleman's recommendation. I never recommended that. He asked me what I was looking for the city manager to do, and then also if our interview with him was one-on-one, how do you know what we told him?
Because he met with everybody and he put it on paper.
He put it on paper, but he didn't put what I said or what everybody said, so don't put it on us. That's his recommendations. At least to me it was. I don't know what it was to everybody else.
Commissioner Perez, you never complained about the amount of the previous city manager's salary? You and Vice Mayor
What I
Bolden?
complained about was giving him a raise after he had 3 IG reports and there was money missing
Yeah.
up the yang and he wasn't doing his job.
That's not the question. You never complained?
Well, that is my answer. Yes, I complained about
Okay.
giving him raises and I never had nothing to say about the salary that he got. When I saw that what his performance was, and even though it was so negative, you guys kept giving him raises, that was concerning to me.
He never accepted one of those raises.
Really.
No.
Because he
The
got it
last
other
two.
ways.
Okay.
guy has raised his
The
hand.
next paragraph on page 3 is labeled C, and it says precisely what I had previously mentioned regarding your responsibility to set goals for the manager and review them based on those goals. Item D, the manager's benefits will include the benefits provided to the general full-time employees, plus any items that are specifically mentioned in addition in this contract. So those additional items are that he's going to be provided by, with a cell phone that's paid for with the city, for his only for city work calls. If I'm not mistaken, the manager has a separate phone he uses for personal calls, which the city is not, of course, paying for. So the manager receives the benefits available for other and city employees, just like all your other managers have. And he gets a vehicle for his use, also just like the other managers had. And he'll be reimbursed for reasonable documented travel and lodging expenses while conducting business on behalf of the city, and only then. Any questions on that paragraph? Of course, this is one of the subjects of a previous IG report, so we wanted to make sure it's covered clearly in here, so everyone knows exactly what they need to do to apply for reimbursements and to document them. Vacation and sick leave. The manager is entitled to 10 days paid vacation during the first year, 15 days paid vacation for the second year. Thereafter, it will be agreed upon between the parties. You'll be entitled to 10 days of paid sick time and holidays as provided for city employees under the city personnel policy, which, as you know, each year you designate which holidays are to be given to all the city employees. Travel expenses, again in paragraph F, all necessary expenses incurred by manager while traveling out of the county for employers, the city's benefit in conformity with Florida law. And as you know, there's a Florida statute on what is reimbursable, how much, and on when occasions, and he'll have to live by that statute. Memberships, he gets memberships in professional associations like ICMA that Commissioner Mervin previously mentioned, and those will be paid for but not to exceed $2,000 per year. So, you know, he'll have a membership in probably the League of Cities and ICMA, and there may be other professional management organizations that your previous managers have all had, and the city is all paid for.
What happened as far as league conferences when he's already a commissioner or vice mayor in one city? Are we responsible for paying for the lead membership in any association of conference fees?
Well, it's very rare. I know for a fact that city commissioners in Lewiston go to those, and they typically designate just one person to go. And when they do, then that person is required to come back and report to the rest of the commissioners. So it acts as a learning opportunity as opposed to a vacation for the commissioners in that way. So I suspect that it will continue to be the policy over there. And over here, you can decide that if he's ever going on to one of those on behalf of Lewiston, then the city won't pay for it. Simple as that. So, no reduction in benefits. Employer shall not at any time during the term of this agreement reduce the financial benefits of the manager except to the extent a reduction is necessary for all employees. So if the city were to really run into a hard time that you had to cut, for instance, employee salaries by a certain percentage to make your budget balance out at the end of the year, then you could impose that same reduction on the city manager. But unless you are doing it across the board, then you can't reduce his benefits.
Should that not
Same-
be in the contract? I know that's in the other city manager's contract, as you just stated. Should that not be in here as stated that,
It is in here. I just read it, paragraph 8.
yeah, but not to the extent of what you're saying about if the only way you can reduce it if the other employees in the city has to be also reduced. No, it doesn't say it to
It does say that,
Says the
exactly.
last line says
Except to the extent such a reduction is necessary for all employees.
Please, let me ask.
Very clear. Termination. So, as you've had in other contracts, you have without cause, meaning you just don't like him anymore and there are 3 votes to terminate him, bam, he's gone. Got to pay him 20 weeks severance.
20 weeks.
20 weeks. Same thing you paying the clerk. Same thing that most all contracts now have in
Let me
it.
ask you a question.
It's authorized by Florida statute, by the
Okay.
way.
A certain amount to be paid,
Yes, it says up to 20 weeks.
up to 20 weeks.
And that's why all
That means you can't go higher than 20. That don't mean you have to start off with 20 in the payment.
Mayor, with all deference to you and the great city that you represent, the turmoil that is exhibited in this city for the last 5 years is such that no one in the right mind that you would ever want to be your manager would come work for you
That's not true.
unless this provision is in here.
You had nearly 40 applicants
None
previous
of them were
that was.
qualified. They were from all over the country.
There was plenty that were qualified,
Whatever.
plenty.
But even with that, you.
Anyways,
you agree
that's what the
city manager
contract,
out,
I'm not going to argue with you about the
Okay,
merits of it. You either
okay.
vote for it or you don't,
Okay.
you know?
Let me
so-
ask a question
Yes,
then,
sir.
since we're dealing with for pay.
You don't talk it over with them. and
You
they don't
call
talk
this
to
city one of the poorest in the United States.
No, in the
Yet
state of
you
Florida is what I said.
In the state of Florida,
That's right, and it is.
let you charge $100,000 attorney salary.
No, I didn't know we were discussing my salary now.
I'm making a point, though.
It's not a very
And
good one.
you're authorizing and asking this commission to approve a contract of $120,000 for a city manager salary, which is the highest starting salary that we ever offered or ever paid in the history of Pahokee. But yet you consistently call this a poor city.
That's right.
Do you have the city interest in heart?
Okay, well,
Or are you trying to drain it out as
Well,
much as possible?
may I answer your question? Okay, so my belief is that the city of Pahokee needs to hire good people and pay them a good salary, and they'll get better service out of it instead of hiring 2 or 3 times as many people that don't work and don't do their jobs and are not knowledgeable. And it appears that, I mean,
So-
that works.
So qualification and experience don't mean anything to you.
Qualifications do mean a lot to me.
What qualification are you adding that justify the salary and the offer for this particular job?
One, he's a local person, he has great experience, he's represented the union for years, he's represented big corporation in the major industry in your city, and he's served as a sheriff deputy 4 years. He's very familiar with the law, he lives right around the corner, you don't have to pay for any travel or other expenses to relocate him, like you did with Mr. Williamson. We know how that ended.
Let me ask this question. Do you know, as a friend, do you know any good lawyers in Florida?
Yeah, you're looking at one right here.
Okay. And as a friend, if I had an illness or anyone had an illness and needed surgery, would you choose that person to operate? I'm talking about the lawyer. So you're talking about experience. We're talking about experience related to city manager. It doesn't even meet the basic qualification.
Mayor, like I said before, you can vote against this if you please. But from what I've seen, he's doing a great job. He's appreciated by the people. who finally realized they have an honest person in this position. And it's reflected. By the very first day he came to office, what did he put up on the billboard out front? Honesty and responsibility, which, as I understand it, you directed a city employee to take down. Now, I don't understand why a mayor would ask that to be taken down.
You keep putting out false information. I mean, for an attorney.
Well, one of your 30-year employees told me that is what happened. So either you or the 30-year employee is lying.
I never, ever directed
It was a meeting, Mayor. It
any
wasn't about the
employee to
honesty
take
and stuff.
any signage down.
Okay, well, we both know that's nonsense.
Okay.
Okay, but I have a question. With the 120, with the 20 weeks, and all of this qualification you say he have, can we get a copy of his resume and the application? Can we get a copy of that?
You can
We have
ask him,
not-
I'm sure you could ask him
Well,
for it
I think we have been
anytime.
asking that for the last 2 meetings past. I think not only myself, but even some of the citizens was asking for his resume to the city.
Okay, you've asked for it, he'll probably provide it. The next paragraph on
Well,
page
Mr.
4.
Thompson, can we please get a copy of your resume, please?
Yes, the commission can have a copy.
Thank you so much.
So
And-
paragraph B on page
See,
4
let's do this.
is termination with cause. And as you know, if you have cause, you can terminate the manager. You don't have to pay him severance. And the cause reasons are the same that you've had in all your city managers' contracts for the last 10 years. So then we have an added provision about inability to perform. So you don't want a manager, for instance, who has a stroke or is suffering from another disability, and they just hang on to the job and they keep getting the salary for long periods of time. You want to be able to move on beyond that and get someone else in that position. That's what this paragraph's all about. Any questions on that?
Where are you at, on C1?
I'm at C 1 and 2.
Okay, at the top?
Mhm.
Okay.
Do we have nepotism in here anywhere? You familiar with that term?
Nepotism is already against the law. It's a violation of state law, so yes, it would be in here.
So what's your definition of that is?
Nepotism, well, it's defined in state law, and I don't recall, obviously, if you hire your kids, your wife, your husband, I don't remember how far it goes out, if you can hire cousins, of what degree, nieces, nephews.
Are you familiar that also include friends?
It doesn't include
Yes, it
friends.
does.
No, it doesn't.
The praxis among
Then
those.
you wouldn't have been able to hire any of the city
The
employees, all
praxis
39 of them.
among those with power or of influence
Where are you reading
and
that from?
favoring relatives or friends, especially by giving them jobs.
What, you look that up in the dictionary? Where's that from?
Your brother works for the city.
Where's that from? Tell us all where you got that definition from. Oh, you're Googling it now. That's
Well, I'll let you read it.
good. All right.
You're good at leaving words out, so just read the complete thing right up top there.
Nepotism. It is the dictionary description of nepotism, which is inapplicable under Florida law. And if you just looked at the Florida law, you'd find out what nepotism is, which I just told you. By the way,
Mr. Chair,
it's the same issue that's come up with the city many, many times in the past, as you know, and has been in all of your previous city managers' contracts. So what's your point? What
My
are you
point
trying to
is-
say?
my
That
point-
the definition of nepotism in the dictionary is different than what's been adopted by the legislature of the state of Florida to guide all counties and cities in the state?
I'm just saying it include relatives or friends.
It doesn't.
Especially given those
Maybe your
jobs.
dictionary does, but the state law doesn't include friends. Like I said, if it was friends, then 39 employees of the city would all be out of a job because they're friends with a lot of people here.
Mr. Chair, the commission took action to hire me, not the attorney.
Yeah, but you was handpicked, Mr. Thompson. Just admit it, believe it, and just move forward. These commission didn't know you. I have been a commissioner for many years, didn't know you, and you have been just recently elected in Cluison. So they wasn't aware of you. They didn't get any background on you. So your friend, who's an associate in Cluison, really handpicked you and hired you. Ultimately, it's a commission. I agree with that. It's commission responsibility.
Vote against it,
But they
Mayor.
allowed.
We all know you're going to vote against it anyways. Why are you pontificating on the fact that you're going to vote against it? Just vote against it.
We can move forward.
Thank you. Paragraph number 10, resignation. So it says that he's not going to...
I'm sorry, I had a question. I thought you was at the top. But you didn't read here. It also says that if the manager is unable to perform his duties because of sickness, accident, injury, mental incapacity, or health for a period of 4 consecutive weeks, the employee shall have the option to terminate his employment in the case without cause. I thought you were just at the top. I didn't hear you read the bottom of it. That's what I was...
Okay, well, I did explain that and the reason for it. Do you want me to do that again?
Yeah, you could have you skipped over that whole section.
No, I didn't skip over it. That's in case he gets sick and he's still collecting his payroll, that you could move on and get somebody else.
All right, quick question.
Yes,
Number
sir.
7, you didn't skip over that outside activities?
Where is that? You're talking about?
7. The manager shall not engage in any non-city related business without the prior approval of the city commission.
That's right.
Manager may continue as an you put that in there.
Of course.
Manager may continue as an elected commissioner of the city of Cluison. Oh, you
Of course,
specifically
obviously.
added that.
Of course I did.
Okay.
I wrote the whole thing. Of course I added it.
Say it. But you missed that. You missed bringing that out.
Well, I'm glad you brought it up.
Okay, you're good at looking over things that's important to this community.
Okay, resignation. The reason we have this in here for resignation,
Please, can we be quiet so we can hear? Thank you.
the reason we have this in here for resignations is so that your manager just doesn't get fed up with all the nonsense around here and walk out the door and say goodbye. He's got to give you 60 days notice so you can hire someone else. Okay, of course, he has a duty of loyalty to the city. He's required to maintain good communication and relations between the manager and the city commission. And the manager agrees that he will not seek other employment while employed in good standing at the manager unless the manager shall first notify employer in writing that he's actively seeking other employment. So that's so your city manager isn't sneaking around behind your back looking for a higher paying job somewhere else and not telling you. If he gets tired of being your manager, he's going to tell you, I'm looking for another job. Then he has to give you 60 days notice before he leaves so you can hire somebody else. So modification of agreement has to be in writing. That's standard clause in every contract you ever sign. Severability, same thing, applicable law. State of Florida law applies. So it's, so far, anyways, let's see. All actions by the employer with regard to this agreement must be made by a vote of at least 3 members of the city commission. So that way, if you only have a quorum of 3 people, 2 people can't fire them. So that's pretty obvious. The standard indemnification clause with respect to what he's doing here for the city. Of course, if he acts illegally, intentionally, or with malice to try to hurt somebody, this clause would not apply, and he would be liable for that, and the city wouldn't have to pick up the tab for it, contrary to the ordinance that your prior attorney suggested you adopted and we just repealed. Okay, that's it. Standard contract, nothing fancy, no frills, straightforward.
I just want to comment on one of the comments you made. You said that without a certain clause in this contract, no one in their right mind would want to be the city manager. I just
My
have to
opinion.
totally disagree with you.
I understand.
We have a lot of good qualified people right in Pahokee that's
Really?
qualified. Yes, really. Here's one right in the audience here.
Well,
He was
they never come
assistant
forward.
warden, qualified, applied for the position.
Okay.
And those individuals, I'm surprised that they don't even attempt to sue us for stopping this process in
Anybody
mid-air.
can sue. Courthouse is located at 301 North Olive, anytime they want.
And not only would they accept this position, and I'm not just talking about this individual, most will accept it for at least 20,000 less than what we're offering.
Okay,
I know
man.
we can get good qualified for
I kind of get the
100,000.
feeling you might vote against us. I think everybody in the audience knows that. Everyone that is on the TV listening, you've made that quite clear. So can we get on with this?
Any questions from commissioners?
I have a couple. Okay, under page, it's actually page 3, but it's 6D, I believe it is. Can we add, manager shall be reimbursed for reasonable and approved documented, I guess approved would be documented,
Well, approved by who?
approved by the city commission?
So every time there's an expense for traveling anywhere, you want to see it on the commission agenda for approval? You
Yes,
can
sir.
do that if you want, yeah.
Yes, sir.
Sure, absolutely.
Okay, and then, okay, under F in that same, I think it was, I forgot now what it was, 6F.
Yes, ma'am?
So manager shall be reimbursed for all necessary expenses incurred by manager while traveling out of the county for employer's business. Okay, so that's the same, basically, it's the same thing as the other one, right?
Yes.
Okay. Under 9A,
Yes, ma'am?
okay, do we know if, Mr. Thompson, are you going to take the medical coverage offered by the city?
Not as of now.
Okay. Okay, so how do we handle that where it says, employer shall continue medical coverage of the manager? Under 9A?
Okay, well, it would be under the same policy you have for all your employees. If they don't get medical coverage, I
Then we
believe
don't
you
have to
give them
cover
a
it.
stipend,
Okay,
a small stipend, as I recall.
all right. All right, I think that's all the questions I have.
That's unusual, Commissioner, Vice Mayor, for a big-time position as this and that. And this commission is good with having a full-time city manager who's gonna be making $120,000 to have outside employment, whether the commission or any other work, as long as we say, okay, yay, nay, it's okay. I mean, we're becoming a laughing stock by doing that. I don't know.
You pay Chandler $135 a year.
Chandler never made 135. The highest he made was 118.
That's not true.
In fact, I was a mayor, I know. I was on here. 118 is his highest salary after 5 years. He has not made a penny more than that in salary.
Okay, you say so.
Man, he knows 118, the contract is there, Brandenburg wrote the contract, so
I did,
he knows it was 118.
I did.
All right, we're not gonna get a whole lot of questions. Everything just seemed to be rubber stamped here. Are there any additional questions?
Do you have any questions?
I'm surprised you
If
don't
you
have
have
any.
them, if you have them, ask. I mean, it's self-explanatory.
Okay. Hearing no additional question, we'll put this before a vote if there is a motion and a second.
Motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve Resolution 2021-38.
I second it.
It is a move by Vice Mayor Boland and properly second by Commissioner Perez for the approval of Resolution 2021-38. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
Nope.
Mayor Bab.
No. Motion passed by a majority, 3-2 vote. Now we move to the city manager report.
Since our last meeting, I've had a few progress meetings for the Barfield project. It is on time. The design segment for A&E is closed out, so the project is on schedule. Had another Zoom meeting with the community revitalization team for Palm Beach County. Laco Regional Economic Alliance of Palm Beach County, otherwise known as LORE. We have reached out to Mr. Mann of JPDT to please contact us so we can start negotiations on their lease. We're hopeful that they'll reach out so we can get that started so there's no delay in their lease. I do have state of the city. I read this off once. This is to update the commission on the state of the city, show our progress. I think it's important for the commission to be aware of what's going on so we know what direction to go. When I got here August 18th, once again, the city failed to request CARES funds that the citizens were entitled to. The American Recovery Act agreement was not signed and sent in as required. The commission has since taken action on that. We should have our money within a week. FDOT grant funded Barfield Highway project was behind. As I just stated, it is timely now. Phase 4 of the road resurfacing project funded by FDOT grant was not bid. We're in jeopardy of losing that grant. It expires December 31st. Bidding it, awarding it, and getting the job done is impossible by December 31st. I've requested an extension from FDOT. I'm waiting on a response. EPA funded grant, our EPA grant funding the Brownfields project was behind. We have since closed that out, and we're in compliance with the grant. McClure Road project was delayed behind. We have since taken action on that. FDEP grant-funded East Lake Stormwater Project. I had a lot of citizens' complaints about leaving debris. Commissioners have asked questions why they left the project. Since then, I have met with them. They explained they started this project and was forced to stop work because of lack of payment. This grant is a little over $600,000. The contractor, after they finished their work, is entitled to $555,000 for this project. They did approximately $100,000 of work. Were not compensated, so they were forced to stop that. I'm currently investigating this issue, finding out where the funds are, the grant, and how we can get this project back on the road. Solid Waste Authority grant of $80,000 for demo is expiring November 31st. This job was not bid out, awarded, or followed through with the project. I've asked for an extension, explained our issues with turnover, lack of staff, and they've graciously extended that for 90 days. And as soon as we award one of these engineering firms, we can get them to work on it. The fiscal year 2019-2020 audit was due in July. The auditors left in August due to turmoil in the city. Since then, we were served a letter, the Joint Legislative Auditing Committee, stating that they were considering taking action against the city for noncompliance of Florida statutes. Since then, I've written a letter to the Legislative Auditing Committee explaining our issues again with turnover and staffing, and they have extended it until December 5th. Our auditing firm has told me that they can have this done by the 5th. No written minutes. When I got here no August 18th, there was no written minutes for any of these meetings for 2.5 years. They cannot do an audit without these minutes. Since then, as you took action tonight, all the minutes are timely. Cemetery plot deeds, none have been filed for 2 years. Now they're all up to date, thanks to the hard work of our city clerk. We'll move on to immediate capital needs. Read these off before. We've been able to take action on 2 of these, one being the air condition in the coach's office, which has been out for 6 months and was not taken care of. The scoreboard, we spoke about that at the last meeting. Mr. Jackson donated $5,000 for a sign. Unfortunately, his money sit there for 2 years without being spent on what he wanted it, what it intended for, was intended for. Since then, we have purchased a new sign. It's twice the size as the one that's there. It is just a little over $7,000. So Mr. Jackson's money will be spent wholly on that sign, and the city will incur those extra expenses. Mr. Brandenburg has reached out and said he will cover all reasonable costs on the installation. So as soon as it gets here, we're going to put it up. We've asked for it to be expedited as much as they can. There's about a 3-week, waiting time. I'm excited to get it up. It's going to be bigger. It's going to have a horn on it for the different quarters. It's going to.
Did you say? I'm sorry. Did you say a horn?
Yeah, for the different
Horn.
quarters.
Okay.
So a big improvement of what we have. Leases. Practically all of our leases have expired and haven't been updated. That's something we're going to address in the future. Public Works in need of equipment repairs. POs were issued months ago and were never approved. Since then, we have approved and paid for these POs for our equipment and maintenance. Previous city managers sold a large portion of our equipment at reportedly extremely undervalued amounts, with the pretense to use those funds to buy equipment, but never did. So we don't have that used equipment, and we don't have any new equipment that would have covered.
Could you give examples? You throw out a lot of information, like,
Yeah, and some of the states, they-
Yes,
say
sir.
for instance, a tractor, and it was valued at
Yes, sir.
$15,000, and he sold it for $1,200.
Yes, sir.
I mean, give this
Yes, sir.
commission and this community some information.
Yes, sir. There was a combination backhoe at the cemetery sold for $3,000.
What's the value of it, what it was worth?
If it was junk and the tires were rotting off of it, it'd be worth 10.
And where did you get that information from?
The cemetery staff. Our bucket truck with a clam on the back of it, he sold that. He sold vehicles, and there's not one bill of sale.
And where
So
you get the
I
information
would
from?
suggest the commission dig into it a little farther.
Yeah. Where you get the initial information from, though?
He also requested the titles to some of these vehicles from the city clerk. When she refused to do it without the bill of sale, he removed them out of her office and gave the job to somebody else. So that is being investigated as we speak. You were not aware of all this equipment sold off?
Mayor Bear,
Not even the amount and who it was sold to and the dates it was sold. I was asking you, where do you get your information from, though? That's what I'm saying.
Staff.
What staff?
Everybody's come in contact with it. We have staff driving some of the cars that were sold. First-hand knowledge, Mr. Chair, not second-hand or rumor. We'll get to the bottom of it.
Mayor Bear, we had all junk.
Okay,
cars.
I have the
Became a
floor, Mr.
commission in
Chair.
2016.
I have the floor, Mr. Chair. Moving on to different accounts.
He don't want to
We
hear
can't
it.
order lawnmower parts because the invoices have never been paid. Investigating it. Broward Motorsports. Mr. Chandler has bought 2 four-wheelers, ATVs, and they were sitting over there since the beginning of the year, and we haven't paid the bill. I've since drove to Palm Beach, paid the bill, recovered them, and we're selling them. Centos uniforms.
Hold on.
We're almost in
Can I
jeopardy of
ask
not
a
getting
question?
them.
Wait, don't go
Wait,
too fast.
can I ask a question?
Yes,
We bought 2 ATVs.
Yeah, they were stashed away somewhere. Nobody knew they existed.
How they were here in the Public Works Department, because I used to drive them for the American Cleanup Day and for Martin Luther King, so how did they know it existed? They sitting
Thought that
right
was
there
the
in Public
Gators.
Works.
Because I've asked staff and other commissioners, they didn't know they existed. You may have,
They're
but
sitting
nobody
right
else
there in
did.
Public, how now all these commissioners saw it, well, when they were there, for American Cleanup Day.
Okay.
Pahokee where? Pahokee Housing Authority?
I said American Cleanup Day.
Yeah, well, where were they sitting?
In the Public Works, they're sitting right there in Public Works. We go there, you can see them sitting right there. Even when they were giving up turkeys.
They've been sitting in Palm Beach for about 7 months.
How is that when we sat on them right there in Public Works? I don't understand the information that you're giving. I'm
You don't-
looking at
you
them,
don't- you don't
I'm
have-
looking at them sitting in Public Works.
I'm making
They had a flat
a
tire.
factual statement. You can ask the Director of Public Works. He's the one that told me. They've been sitting over there.
Because I'm sitting there, I'm looking at it with the flat tires.
You
sitting
haven't
there,
been
and I'm
looking at them
asking,
since May or April, I assure you.
Since April?
Centos uniforms, we're in jeopardy of not getting our uniforms because the POs have not, or the invoices have not been paid. Since then, we have paid them. CRS is our prominent air conditioning contractor. We could not call them because their invoices have not been paid back to February. Since then, we have called them up.
And
Our
just-
plumbing,
just for
our
the-
plumbing company, we could not call them because we have not paid their invoices.
Just for the record, this commission directed that most payment be stopped until they can approve
the last
and
6
verify.
months.
You don't have to approve. I'm
Those
just
are
reading.
from February,
I'm
he
just
said.
reading my report.
Okay.
Plumber, couldn't call the plumber. Ms. Carter called the plumber, they wouldn't respond because we haven't paid our invoice. Since then, we have paid them. Pool cleaning service,
I have no finance person.
he quit because he wasn't getting paid. We called him up, he still quit. Found out that the city had installed a water outlet with a meter at the old hospital for the contractor to knock it down. We've been paying a $300 a month water bill because it still sits there. It is being disconnected as we speak. Palm Beach County Maintenance, when I got here, approached me about a bucket truck. A 2003 bucket truck that has been sitting without windows in it for I don't know how long, had green mold growing in it, and the city was fixing to spend $25,000 in repairs on this bucket truck that we apparently never use because it has green mold growing in it. If we would, when we finished $25,000 in repairs, it would have been worth about $12,000. I have since stopped that work. We have about $5,000 in it. It's coming back to the city, and it will be sold.
Where did the bucket truck go and when did it go and where?
I don't know. I wasn't here. The commission was here. Do y'all know?
I know it was a bucket
Did you
truck, but it
approve?
wasn't in use.
Evidently not had green mold growing in it.
I know, but it wasn't in use.
So the county, in the future, has a lease agreement that we can rent a vehicle, a new one, in better condition, certified, for $72 a day. Moving forward, that will be what the city does. Not to mention our enterprise funds, which is the cemetery and arena, which has some extreme hurdles that we're continuing to work on and straighten out. Like I said, I think it's important for the commission to be aware so you can fulfill your fiduciary obligation to the citizens of Pahokee. Number two, hold me accountable for this progress and benchmark it. So, been a lot of discussion on qualifications. This is what the last one got you. We're going to fix it.
Can we get a copy of that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And now I have a
For all that
question.
information for our citizens, thank you for letting us know.
Thank you.
And I have
Thank
a
you.
question.
I appreciate it.
I must be missing something.
I have a
didn't hear
question.
anything impressive
I
in
have
the
a-
report.
It's so bad.
I have a question. For the last 6 months, you have not had an economic development. You have not had a finance. You have not had really a staff for the last 6 months. So when you say that things have not getting paid, to give the date, unfortunately, they will not get paid when you don't have a finance clerk or economic development with contractors to send in to get their payouts. They won't get paid. Because there's actually no one in there that actually really
Ma'am,
knows.
they're still not there, and it's getting paid today.
No, they're not. No, some of them
I know,
are
yes,
not.
ma'am, you're right, they're not there.
I know some of the.
But the
payouts-
bills are getting paid. I signed $220,000 worth of checks last week,
Listen, okay,
and a portion of it went to last year's budget. That don't happen in cities.
listen, like I said before, you talked about Barfield Highway, you talked about the McClure project. McClure project actually was awarded $900,000, which is supposed to not getting staged to, start staging to July of 2021. That's for the bid to go out, at least just for the engineer. That project won't even get on the ground to get started to 2022, finished in 2023. So to say that it's late, no, you're late with getting out because I'm not mistaken, Jocelyn Adams, when she was here, tried to bring that to the commission to get her engineer for that project. The commission wouldn't even do that. Going back to the approval of JPDT, you said in your minutes that it's supposed to be no negotiation. No. Their contract should not be talking with Brad Richardson. It's not a negotiation of their lease. The only thing that in their lease that has to be changed is the as is or what if or that.
Yeah,
It's
that's
not-
totally wrong.
It's not a negotiate. Their negotiation is now. So what do you negotiate? They already negotiated their salary,
The
their
whole
payout.
lease.
No, that's not true, Mr.
The
Renner.
document you claim to have as a lease,
Mr.
do you know
Bre-
that it provides zero compensation for the city of Pahokee?
You wrote
Zero.
that, you wrote that
Listen.
lease.
I
That's
didn't
what
write
yes,
the
you
lease.
did.
No, I didn't.
Listen.
We
It said-
took stuff out of the contracts I wrote and combined it with other stuff
Mayor-
and
But
called it a lease.
it was the identical
The-
lease you wrote for,
the lease
yes, it
for-
was,
the lease-
ERH.
Do you want to have a little wager on the side on
It's
that?
Mayor
Would you
identical.
like, how much would you like to wager?
The only
on that?
thing different, the marina and the campground wasn't included. The restaurant, the lease was basically the same.
Mayor
It's
Van-
totally wrong. Totally wrong.
Mayor
Let's,
Van- Can I just finish my for the question here? On the JPD, I know they do not have to go with negotiation of the lease. I've talked with Brad Richardson, and I have the emails from Brad Richardson. The only thing they have to do is the format of the form where as is not a drastic change per his words. Also, I know in the last meeting, the commission approved to do a sublease with ERH, a contract. Going back again, talking with Brad Richardson and Internal General with DEP, it has to go out for RFP. So he cannot just do a contract to get the marina and the campground. It has to go out for RFP. That's per Brad Richardson and the BOT up in Tallahassee. Also,
I'm going to have to share part of my salary with you.
yeah, you should, because
really should.
because the information that you're giving out is very false. Also, with the some of this other stuff that he's
Commissioner, this wasn't up for debate. This was
It's not about a
this was
debate.
a
I'm just
manager's
I'm just-
report, and it befounds me you would defend this
Well,
activity or inactivity when
for
you are
what
the
I
one
do.
responsible for this.
Listen, what I do, I do go get my research.
you need to research this.
Another mistake you made from the Florida League of Palm Beach League of Cities is about the CARES Act money. There's 2 CARES Act money. There was one from a Trump CARES Act money that came out, and actually, you do not have to apply for anything. The first CARES Act money, you had to be over 550,000 residents. That's why I only went to the county. And you could have a reimbursement. If you spent any CARES Act money due to COVID, you could have got your reimbursement.
Which one did the city fail to apply for?
Listen to me, Mr. Thompson.
Which one did you get?
Listen, please, Mr. Thompson.
I'm trying.
And then, so when the second one came under the Biden administration, that's the one that we're getting. I'm not talking about
The
that.
city of Pahokee got that?
Mr. Thompson, you don't have to apply for that. You're gonna get, this city gets at least $3 million of that money. You're gonna get
That's
that
something
anyway.
different.
Depends on your budget. That went on the.
You're confused, Commissioner. That's
Please.
ARPA, American Recovery Plan Act.
Listen, there was 2. There was a Trump came out with a CARES Act. You did not have to apply for that. It went to the county, went to the largest cities that had the largest population. It went to the county. You did not have to apply for that money. But if you spent COVID money within your city, you could have did a reimbursement.
Yeah, you had
But
to apply for it. Guess
please,
what?
but because our
You had to apply for
reimbursement,
it. You never did.
because our reimbursement was so low, which is only about $2,500, they didn't bother to do the reimbursement. That is true.
We calculated
not
it was
even other cities.
$300,000.
Even
assure you it was
other,
more
no,
than
it wasn't
2,500.
spent. Oh, God. It was not
You're
only
justifying poorly
only $2,500. See,
It
this is the
cost the
problem why the
city
city
hundreds
cannot
of
go.
thousands of dollars.
You're missing
Hundreds.
a couple decimals on that.
This is why the city can't go forward, because all you try to do is sit there and
I'm
try
stating
to.
facts.
No, you're not stating facts.
CARES Act, the last date to submit for CARES Act
Let me-
was
let
December
me read it to
31st
you.
of
Let
last
me read
year,
it to
and this
you.
city failed to do so after
me
the
read it
request of
to
the
you.
county. The county was begging the city, please apply for it.
No, it wasn't apply for, it's a
okay.
reimbursement. I talked to the county.
Okay. How much did we get
It was the
reimbursed?
reimbursement. They could have got a
You have to
reimbursement.
submit what you're asking for reimbursement for.
Exactly.
And the city never did
Exactly, it
it.
was only $2,500.
It was $300,000 you could have gotten
No,
from
you
that.
couldn't have. No, you could not have.
Well, every other city I knew did.
No, they did not, because I called even the city of South Bay.
Oh,
Said
well,
they
South Bay,
spent,
there we go.
they spent
Our
$1,800.
fraternity brothers over there didn't do
Well, I don't know
very well
about the
either,
fraternity
did they?
brothers.
How can you,
Anyway,
how can
and
you
then
defend
you all,
this?
and then you,
It cost your
sat there-
citizens hundreds of thousands of dollars, and you're defending this. How can you possibly
Please.
do that?
Mister, because they're wrong.
I speak the
Because
truth,
they're
ma'am.
wrong. Just like they're wrong about about ERH had a lease.
Anybody can look
They're
it up.
wrong.
December 31st, see if
They're
Pahokee
wrong.
got any money.
Mr.
The
Thompson,
city
can
is
I ask
gonna-
you a
County
question?
Emergency Services, which you
Oh, my
supposed to
God.
request it from, reached out to the county and asked them.
To do the reimbursement, they didn't have to do the reimbursement. It was only up to $2,500 that
So
we
the
spent.
city didn't miss out on
Okay,
anything.
leave that alone then, Mr.
Well, you didn't even
just-
get the $2,500, did you?
No, they did not. That's what I
little
said, no,
bit
they did
counts.
not.
Well, you just threw away $2,500.
I don't think that was a
of
throwaway, it was
citizens'
for
money.
masks. I don't think that was a throwaway. We had it in our budget.
We're gonna move forward. You
Can-
include your comments.
Okay, so
in the,
also,
commission.
and I want to go on to the signage, what you call the sign, the football sign. At the football sign, they have, he said the Ricky Jackson 5,000, you said total is
A little over 7.
Well, if you did not know, you know, that also was one of your surtax projects that you could have used into that.
Why would
So,
you do that
please-
if people are giving you money for it?
Please listen, please let me finish, Mr. Brandenburg.
Does that
He
justify
asked-
not spending that money for 2 years?
Mr. Brandon, you don't have to, some cities spend it for, they hold it for the whole 5 years, so they get the whole lump sum to do a project. But let me just finish what I'm
A
saying.
donation? with
I didn't say
intent?
donate. If you would listen, Mr. Thompson, and stop trying to cut me off.
But you're talking
Just
about the
listen.
scoreboard, right?
I'm talking about the scoreboard. Listen to me. And also, there's a good, yes, Ricky Jackson gave $5,000 towards the scoreboard. The money was still there, as you stated, for the scoreboard. Now, and then Mr. Brandenburg gave $1,000, which I hear now that he's putting his name on the scoreboard. So why would Mr. Brandenburg's name go on the scoreboard?
Mr. Ricky Jackson's name is on the
And
top.
it said also,
And Mr. Brandenburg is on the bottom.
why?
I just read off to you because he is paying for
I'm
the
gonna pay
installation.
for
You
it.
tell me he, because he gave $1,000, his name go on the
No,
scoreboard?
I'm paying for everything.
No, that's,
That's not, no.
He's paying for the
That's-
installation.
no.
So is that part of the manager's
Good
report?
God.
No.
Really?
No. Come on, you
The
can say for
commission, the
real you
commissioners
want,
will have their
that's not right,
individual
you know that.
report
You wouldn't agree to it,
at the
no
end
one
of the
else.
meeting. Any more
Make it
questions
face
on
up if you want,
any
you
more
know.
questions on the manager's report?
Yes, sir, I have one. You stated that some of the invoices were from February, and Commissioner Mervin said over there that it was because we didn't have a city finance director, because we didn't have a economic development person, but we had all of them in February, is that correct?
All the bills wasn't
All
for February.
the people
To
that
my-
should have been paying those bills?
But Commissioner, or Vice Mayor, I will say,
No, they were left in June.
today, the last week, since August 18th that I've been here, and have been working hard to catch up on the city's bills and get things in order, we have not had an economic development person, a grant manager, a finance director, an assistant, accounts payable. We haven't had any of those, but we've
And
been
yet
able
we
to
paid these
accomplish
bills this time?
in 6 weeks.
he was
I didn't
able,
pay out.
he was
I didn't
able to
pay out.
pay him because the city commission authorized him or allowed him to make the payments. This commission previously
get a grip.
has stopped payments on most items. You all did
No,
that.
we did not.
Yes, y'all did.
No, we did not.
Yes,
There
you
is no
did.
justifiable
that-
defense.
Not for daily operations, we did not. Anything that was over $10,000, okay?
These bills should have been paid.
Outside.
And they weren't paid by the previous administration.
Current staff
It
has
wasn't
pulled
there,
together
Regina.
and assumed
Yes,
other roles
they
and
were.
got
In
the job
February,
done.
we had a full staff in February.
My question to the city managers only have one, the youth park at Glade Citizen Villa. We got that grant for $5,000. They came and made a presentation and just need an update on where we are in trying to get that park lease
If you can
constructed.
give me an update where that grant's at, I can get started on it.
That's the person
We
who
don't
did the
have
grant.
finance that can look for that. We have a contract that staff could probably research where the 5,000 located. It was some type of
person who did the
grant.
grant there. I
It's
don't know
under
the president.
a special fund, whatever the grant funding we receive, it's probably located there. But we would hope that that would continue to be included on the
Mr. Mayor,
agenda to allow for some updates so we can at least take care of that.
I would suggest that we look in the general fund for that deposit, because I don't believe at that time that we had a special grant fund. We set that special grant fund up after we got some IG reports and some other things from the county saying that those
General
need
idea
to be
what that-
separated.
What that date was?
It was probably 4 or 5 years ago, I believe.
4 or 5 years.
The IG report came out in 19.
No, I'm
didn't it?
saying the $5,000 that the lady gave the city was probably 4 or 5 years ago. Does anybody remember? I don't, the lady's name was Martha, is all I remember.
2016.
This hasn't been a concern till now?
We talked about that when she made the presentation. We're going over, the same information.
5 years is a long time to
It
lose
was
that money,
talked
Mayor.
about, Mr. Thompson, it was
Yeah, I
talked
think you was here
about
too,
the area where it was sitting at.
City Attorney.
Where the
Was
park
I in
was
charge
sitting
of
at.
collecting your money and putting it in the right account?
You don't have the same authority you had then that you have now.
Mr. Thompson,
You the
it was
go-to
talking
guy
just the
now, I
spot where they
guess.
had the park
Am I
at
in charge
used to
now
be a
of
depot,
your bank accounts,
And the check was
Mayor?
made out to the person that did the grant.
So she got the money?
So we don't know.
So the lady that got the grant got the
Did she hand it to, I thought she said she gave it to us. It was a NEEP grant, right?
Yeah.
It was-
yeah.
Can we talk about this together? And
Okay,
Get
we're
a
gonna
better
move
idea.
on. Hopefully that's the question we have to conclude this city manager report. Mr. Brandenburg, do you have a report?
And I believe you need to take up the WGI and Ingenuity and McMahon applications for your city engineer. I
engineer.
believe you skipped that on the agenda, Mayor.
Okay.
You put it up on the new business.
Under new business?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mayor, I have a question with the city manager.
Yes, ma'am.
You sent out a email from the Palm Beach League of Cities about the surtax dollars,
Yes, ma'am.
and you said there was nothing reported from 2019. But I called, like I said, I don't just sit up here and just talk, I do get my research. I called Palm Beach League of Cities, and I got the last project that was sent in. You said was nothing sent in from 20. If you look down at the bottom, I don't know whether you got it or not, but if you look down at the bottom of the list, it tells you every year was reported. And only year they're now is waiting for is this previous year, right here, 2020 and 2021 is what they're waiting for. And it was due in June. But I know you said that it wasn't. Then I also asked for the letter. On the letter, it did not state what you said of 2019. They're only looking for the 2021, 2022 projects. And also, the letter stating that if we don't send it in, because we know Palm Beach League of Cities is our oversight committee for that, those surtax dollars, and it would be in jeopardy because they don't know how to, because we have not reported. So I remember me and you was talking on that, and what you were saying was not true about the surtax dollars.
Well, the reason why I said that, if you'll turn to the last page on 3, asterisk, asterisk. The committee wants to remind the city that it likewise did not provide timely information in the preceding fiscal year of 2020 and 2021, which
That's
would
what I
be
said.
2019 and 2020.
Right, and it's due in June, she said. It was due in June.
No, ma'am. The committee wants to remind the city that it likewise did not provide timely information in the proceeding. It is impossible for the committee to provide oversight required by Palm Beach County Ordinance number 2016-032 relative to the receipt, expenditure of infrastructure surtax revenue without the provision of timely information. This places the city in jeopardy of being in violation of Palm Beach County ordinance.
Did you
On
get
the
the
first
spreadsheet?
page, on the first page.
Did you get the spreadsheet?
What spreadsheet?
That's what I'm saying. So if you were asking
I'm
for
reading
every project-
verbatim what they sent us.
I have it right
Okay,
here.
the city of Pahokee has chosen to utilize this committee. However, the city has consistently, asterisk, asterisk, failure to provide the committee with any information relative to its
Can you pass
infrastructure
out the-
surtax expenditures
the proof right here?
or contemplated projects makes it impossible for this committee to provide the city with the required independent citizen oversight, placing the city in jeopardy of violation of the surtax ordinance. This is their letter they served to the city. I'm reading it off
And
verbatim.
they're looking for
But yet we still have people
2020,
continue to
2022.
defend this,
Here it is right
to
here,
defend
Mr.
it.
Mr. Thompson, I'm asking you, did you hear this here? If you, I could
I read the
really email this
communication
to
from the
you.
county, and we will be responding to this.
Here it is, here, Mr. Thompson. Here's your year 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019.
That was
And now
re-
you look for 2020, 2021.
They must be mistaken then.
I called
I
Ms.
apologize. I withdraw
Teresa
it. They were mistaken.
From Palm Beach League of Cities, and she sent me the report.
Okay, so they broke.
And
A
on
letter that's
here,
inaccurate, you're suggesting they're
Mr.
writing a
Greenberg,
letter
if
to
you
you
read
that's
this letter, it
inaccurate.
does not say, listen what he said. He said they're looking for, there was nothing reported from 2019.
Okay, Commissioner, you're right. Who cares? No one cares.
I care. I care
No
when
one
you sit
cares.
here and not tell the
We gotta do
truth.
what they're asking. If you want to
Yeah, you're gonna
continue
be,
the program,
And just
so
for-
do it.
Mr. Brandenburg,
And just
let
for
me finish.
transparency, I sent the commissioners
I'm gonna still
all
finish.
this.
It says here,
when
they're
I
looking
got-
for proposed projects for the year 2021, 2022. I have the same letter.
Awesome.
That's what it said.
Great
And,
letter.
and if you did your research,
We
call
can all
over
read it.
there, I wish you would sit there and just do your legal sufficiency and just sit there, Mr.
You'd like
President.
me
Let
to
me
sit
talk.
here and keep my mouth shut
Yes.
and not point out all the stupid things you're saying?
No, it's all the lies that you're saying and what Mr. Thompson is doing right now.
But Commissioner,
I will email
going
you
to reach out to the county, and
Yeah,
I
you
wanted,
can-
I wanted
can send you
to,
this.
I wanted the commission
I'm
to have
gonna
time
move,
to talk about it.
I'm
before
gonna
I
move this
did.
forward to,
And let us know, let.
ma'am, you're out of order. Let's move it forward. Do that conclude your report, City Manager?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Then we move to,
No report, sir.
thank you. On the old business, we have the Pahokee Housing Authority Board appointment. I believe the city clerk indicated we only have one that completed an application for that appointment, and it's Mr. Ronald Osborne. So if it's the commission pleasure, we can move a motion to accept that application and move his appointment forward to the Housing Authority
I
Board.
mean, I think the clerk said that was just one ad, but she was gonna put it out again so people can apply. I don't think a lot of people, they don't even know that it was, a lot of people don't even know open to apply. So she was gonna give it a little more time for me talking to her to have other people that wants to apply.
You have it on the website or the marquee out there so people at least know?
It's not on the marquee, but I can put it up on the website.
Okay.
It's already on the website, but I can make an announcement.
Okay.
And if you would, on the website, if you would please let them know what the obligations are going to be, because I had somebody who asked me, and I just got the information for them, about how many meetings they have to attend,
They
or when the
meet
meetings
the
are. Yeah,
Third Thursday of every month at 6 p.m.
thank you.
So if it's the pleasure of the commission, we'll just hold that off to our next commission meeting, which will give us an additional 2 weeks to seek additional applications. Okay, now we'll move to the new business, the new engineer firm proposals. I'll let our city manager speak on that.
Yes, sir. We've had 3 different companies, engineering companies, respond to the RFQ. One being McMahon Ingenuity Group and WGI. All 3 put fantastic proposals together. After doing some research, I recommend the city goes with WGI. They're out of Palm Beach, but they are, they're just not in Palm Beach. That's where the headquarters is. They're very responsive. They're present during bids, and I think they go a little above and beyond the other 2 that submitted, in my view. All this material, I can make this available to you if you need it.
You said there were 3. I'm sorry, I only heard 2. McMahon, WGI, and what was the other one?
MCMAHON, McMahon Ingenuity Group Incorporated.
Okay, so Ingenuity was the second one. I'm
And
sorry, I wrote them
WGI.
both on the same line, okay.
Yeah, makes sense.
And with your research, what stood out that you would recommend that particular firm over the other 2?
Speaking with others that have used this, WGI is the responsiveness, hands-on, and like I said, matter of fact, Ms. Warren is one that spoke out and said that they actually show up to their job bids.
Bid opening.
Yeah, bid opening.
Just a note, Mayor, your current engineer did not even apply for it.
It seems to me, I just have one comment. Mr. Mayor, can I make a comment? Yes, sir. I think that if I remember back before I was ever a commissioner, we hired WGI for something to do with, I want to say it was something to do with the lake. I don't
They were hired
remember
by the
what.
city, and they actually
They
were
measured something or something for us, didn't they?
starting to work on the Barfield job, and they were upset to the point that they no longer wanted to work for the city because of the way the city management was handling that job. So instead of just going forward and taking the city's money, they decided that they would resign.
I remember that they had a lot of different equipment, because the reason that name stuck out was because they had some kind of specialized equipment that they brought out to use for that, so.
They do mapping and survey. That's just
Yeah,
one
I
of
think
their,
it had something to do with that. I
one
don't
of their
remember
trades.
exactly the details. It
they're
just-
very
They do
large
a
and
huge amount of
capable.
work for FDOT statewide. I mean, they build all these huge clover leafs down in Miami, and, you know, they're one of the biggest engineering firms in the state of Florida.
Okay. And you said they're located someplace here local,
Headquartered in Palm Beach.
Palm Beach?
I have a question, like, the RFQ, does that, how do you establish a payment for?
So the way the
For an engineer.
CNA process works is you do an RFQ, you look at the engineers' capabilities and what they've done in the past, and then you pick the one that you think is most qualified. Once you pick the one that is most qualified, then they enter into negotiations with staff to lay out the hourly rates and what their charges are. If you're unable to reach an agreement with the most highly qualified firm, then you pass them over and you go to the next highly qualified firm. So it would be important that the city not only pick the firm that you think is most qualified, but also which one you feel is secondarily or second best qualified. I have worked extensively with all three of these firms, and they're all excellent. They have, you know, each one has its particular area of expertise. For instance, McMahon and Associates, they're very, very good on traffic engineering as far as the traffic counts and so far is concerned. WGI, they are statewide. They, as I mentioned before, they do, you know, hundreds of millions of dollars of projects for FDOT each year. Ingenuity is a local Palm Beach County firm. Many of you may know Lisa Terpepi, that's been involved in the League of Cities for the past 30 years. She's one of the leading engineers in that firm. You've got three excellent firms here, and so.
What was the amount of, what is the RFQ bid? What was the bid?
There's no bid. As I just mentioned to you, there is no bid in the CNA process, none.
Okay.
You pick the most qualified firm, and then you negotiate a contract with them. If you can reach an agreement that you feel is reasonable with the most qualified firm, you do that. If you feel that that's not reasonable, then you go to the second most qualified firm and on down the line until you hire an engineer.
Okay, so this engineer is gonna be for the Barfield Highway?
And this
And the
engineer
other-
will be for all of your
Okay.
engineering needs.
Anything we need them for.
Right, so I'm asking a question, so we're gonna be starting with Barfield Highway with the engineer. I know the grant is what, 4.3?
No,
You already for,
No.
The design.
design's already done
design's
on
done.
Barfield.
Did you not
Now
let
you
me
have
finish?
an
Let
inspector.
me finish my question, so I get to understand, I'm just asking a question.
The,
What would be I'm asking, money's already been taken away from the grant. So that's what I'm trying, what would be their cost? I know you have to see.
None for this new engineer. You're not following it.
So they're just coming in, they're gonna be
The
starting for
design
free.
is done for Barfield. It's over. Then the FDOT requires you hire a different engineer, which you've already
project
done for inspection
And
during
so,
construction.
I know that.
Separate, not this guy.
it's a company called,
Momentum.
it's Robert Audette, Momentum.
In fact, I have it right here,
It's Momentum.
You know that.
I have it right here.
So A&E, which is the architect, and they finished their job, and that part's closed out. So now Momentum is actually managing the project, and following up, make sure the contractors fulfill their obligations and they're using the right materials, the right equipment, and they stay on time.
So
We
will
have,
we keep it so we still have momentum or momentum? or not?
yes, ma'am. We have weekly meetings with them and the contractors to make sure everything's on track. Every Tuesday at 10 o'clock, I meet with them.
So we have basically three proposals. Staff is recommending one, WGI. We can approve that for negotiation for a formal contract, as the attorney says. If that don't work
That's my
out, you
second.
move to the second preferred bidder and then the third. So it's just a point of whether or not we want to accept staff recommendation to move forward on negotiating the contract for services of engineering.
Wait a minute, we don't approve those comes from him, and then he will bring us the recommendation that staff did. We don't,
Yeah, we're approving
did.
it tonight, that's why they're here. He has to give a recommendation, then for him to move forward, we need to have.
I'm just
the
giving a
commission
recommendation, it's up to commission.
approve.
My recommendation would be WGI first and Ingenuity for your second choice. So if you run into an issue where you can't come to a reasonable agreement with the first, you don't have to come back and vote on the second one. You already have that. You can move on.
If no one have any objection to that recommendation, we can move forward with a motion to accept the recommendation and have staff move forward with the negotiation process.
Which one has the fastest turnaround?
I've never talked to him, I don't know.
Is he asking a question? Are you asking a question, Mr.?
Yeah, I was just asking, which one has the quickest turnaround?
Huh.
As you can see, it's Barfield Highway. I've been getting complaints, and it's true. Sometimes they're working, sometimes they're not, they're working. So that's a concern.
This engineer would not be working on that project. That is the project engineer, which is Momentum.
It's a construction company.
Okay.
Yeah.
And right now, you may not have a lot of people out there because the work they were doing, putting down the pipe, some of that section is finished. So they're not going to keep people on site when they don't have work to do. So there's different companies coming in and out, different contractors, and as they finish that job, you may see them leave. Different stages of the project.
The pipes is the county, right?
It's part of this project. It is not a resurfacing project. It is a complete
Right.
reconstruction.
Right.
So infrastructure, grid walls, all kind of stuff has to be done other than just resurfacing. And I will say that road, I'm told by our engineer, has been resurfaced so many times that in some points it has 17 inches of asphalt. Normally it would have 2.5.
You'd almost have 18.
So I think it's a great thing for the city to get this finished. It's going to really enhance the city and the homes around it, and hopefully attract some businesses to, to start next
thank
to it.
God for the last administration to get the money to do Barfield Highway.
Well, actually, I think it was a legislator that we have up there.
Somebody had to go
Obvious.
get it. Somebody had to put it out for it.
Yeah, he got it,
Somebody
and
had
we
to put
just
it forward.
applied for it.
So thank God for the administration.
Yeah, thank God for the legislator.
On the table is the RFQ. Are we
Let's
moving
take
forward with
credit.
staff recommendation? I would accept a motion in a second, so we move forward.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we move forward with staff recommendation for WGI first and equity second if they can't put it together with WGI.
I second it.
It has been moved by Vice Mayor Bolden and properly second by Commissioner Perez to move forward with the staff recommendation of WGI and as a preferred professional service for engineering. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Yes.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Motion passed by unanimous vote. Next on the agenda is the cancellation of the March 8th, 2022 City Commission meeting. I imagine that's in conflict with the scheduled election, and this reason why we're just putting that out there to get canceled if it's our choice. I entertain a motion to that effect.
Of what?
The cancellation of the March 8th, 2022 commission meeting due to the upcoming election in March.
Is that the day of the election?
I believe
Yes.
so, yes.
Okay. I'd like to set a motion to cancel the March 8 meeting due to the elections.
Second?
It has been moved by Commissioner Perez and properly second by Vice Mayor Bowling for the cancellation of the March 8th, 2022 City Commission meeting due to the upcoming election at the City of Pahokee. Call for questions. Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Bowling,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Commissioner Murphy,
Yes.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Clerk. Thank you, Commissioners. Motion passed by unanimous vote. Now we move to the Commissioners' comments, and we'll start on the far right with Commissioner Murphy.
I mean, I just have to say that, and I think I've talked even with Mr. Thompson about this. You know, you sit here and it is not, it's it's like every time they come, they're just trying to find something where this is wrong. It's not anything that comes with as far as working cohesive together. It's not. I don't care how they put it. For the last 6 months, I would say about 6 months, 7 months now, it's been a lot of changes going on. So yeah, there are going to be a lot of things that's missed, and I would like to ask if we could get a copy of the delayed payments, Mr. Thompson, so we can see. So I would like to see when those payments had occurred to come in late. If we can get a copy of that, what you was reading.
You want all the invoices?
Yeah, I would like that. And also, I know we used to also ask for the credit card statements from prior. We didn't get that either. We can also get a copy. I know they cut them all off now. But from previous, we can get a copy of all of the last credit card statements that was prior to you,
How far
Mr.
back?
Brandon. I think from April, because I think the last one I seen, I think from April, we used to get them quarterly, but we stopped, we haven't gotten them.
We won't have
until-
that problem in the future because we're not going to have credit cards.
Well, I know that now, but I'm just saying, we were getting them, and then for the last 6 months, we haven't getting them, because there was no one there to actually really give them to us. I know the last one, when the finance, Ms. Batista left, she gave us a printout, and the city, we will say, was in the city was in the overage in money. I would say she left the city, they left the city with overage in money. So we wasn't hurting for money. Also, that conversation that you and I had was that if we can, you send out derogatory emails before you actually really do the research. You asked about the project for the surtax. Fortunately, I don't think you had. Did you get the list of the projects that was due to the surtax?
Just for fairness, can you explain derogatory emails?
Well, the last one that you sent out, even some of your comments tonight.
What makes it derogatory?
Even some of your comments, some of your comments are false. Some of your comments are false.
Derogatory, read it.
Some of your comments was false.
Read the
Will you please
derogatory.
let me finish?
No, because you're sitting here lying to the community.
Commissioner Perez, allow
You
me.
talk about not saying the truth and not
Commissioner
stating the
Perez,
facts. You're saying what you read, but you're not showing
You out of
anything.
order, ma'am. Even if you disagree, allow her to make her comments. Each commissioner will have an opportunity, if you want to rebuttal anything she's saying.
Like I said,
then
she
use
talks
it.
more than anybody else in this diocese. You gotta jump in to get a word in.
If I may explain, I believe what the commissioner is referring to. When I sent the commissioners a copy of this letter from the county, I didn't interpret it. I didn't change it. It's what they sent me. and I felt it fair to advise the commission what had been going on. When I sent that to them, I added on the bottom of it, unfortunately, this is a theme of the city. And I say that because I just read off, a contractor had to walk off the job because he wasn't getting paid. Every department I talked to, FDEP, EPA, FDOT, will nod to the fact there's been a consistent issue with the city of Pahokee communicating with grants, fulfilling their obligation with grants. Every aspect of it, there's a history of not following through. That's factual. That's why I put that on there. It's important that you know that. So you can take action. You can hold me responsible. You can hold anybody in the future responsible, not to defend it. There's nothing to defend.
Okay, so can I finish? Question to you, how do they sign off on grants if there was, you saying there were nothing, because when the grants come from the state, they're also monitored through the state. So how do they sign off? Right now, we only have 2 projects that's actually going, which is Barfield and Eastlake.
Eastlake is not.
I think it's finished now, but I'm saying those were the only 2 projects.
Eastlake stopped because the city didn't pay the contractor.
Exactly, but the
They
project
walked
didn't
off.
start. Mr. You did not let me finish. I talked to.
Because there's a history with the city of Pahokee
It just
not following
that
through.
actually that project just started, It started and just finished. I talked to the guy
It's
today.
not finished,
Oh, God, if you let me, you're not letting me finish.
because you're wrong, Commissioner.
Okay, this is
You're
commissioner
not letting me
comments.
finish. I'm saying from the
Allow
last
to
6
finish.
months is when this has started. From 6 months to now, it has started. Of course, I can agree with you, there has things not been paid. I agree with that. Because talking even with doing my research, there's no one in your city hall right now that does payouts. No one. When the contractor, again, and you didn't know that, but when a contractor turns in an invoice and goes to economic development, who's there to accept that? No one. Who's there to do the payout? No one.
Ma'am, we're getting it done now without that staff. We're
How do you
forced
get
to,
it?
because we're obligated to take care of the city's
You
business.
have to do it now because you're there.
They were obligated 6 months ago, too. And 5 months ago, and 4
Never
months
been
ago,
without a
and
city
3 months
manager.
ago.
That's, okay, but and like I said, if you could please give me a copy of those, so I would like to see them.
How far back would you like the
On all
invoices?
the contracts you're talking about that's not getting paid,
Contracts.
that have not been paid.
You mean invoices or
Invoices,
with our
however
suppliers?
you want it stated.
How far back?
All the ones you say have not gotten paid.
They have got paid. We called them up.
I would like to see that from the time before you paid it. I want to see that date. I would like to see it.
I need, that's a
I'll
general
come to your
term.
office, Mr. Thompson. Go ahead.
And please, when you do it, would you put it in a document so I could put it on Facebook and show the entire community,
can.
please? So that they get there's 2 sides to every story, and
I
then
will
there's
give
the
a copy
truth.
to the commission, but I will let the
Thank
commission
you.
know this. As you see in my update.
Yeah, I know you got
We're in a deficit, and we're very busy.
Yeah.
And it's disheartening to think that we have to defend
Yeah.
taking care of the business of the citizens of Pahokee. But we'll
I
do
want to
it.
ask you for the date.
We'll do
I want
it.
to ask you for the invoice to see the date. That's what I
You're
wanna do
questioning
when
whether
this
I'm telling the truth. And
Yeah, yes,
I'll
I
show it
am.
to you.
Yeah,
I'll show it to you.
I want to see it.
That includes your
It's
comments.
a good way to start off the
Commissioner.
relationship.
Are you done? Thank you. Commissioner Perez.
Okay, I'm gonna start off with, first of all, I wanna congratulate, Pahokee Middle Senior High School. They got the 2020-2021 Resilient Florida PBIS Model School, Tier 1 Model School for 2020-2021. Congratulate the principal, Mr. Denard, and all the staff and everybody that was involved in making this happen. Second, I want to address, because I was chastised up here because we were talking to Mr. Richardson. I want to know what is the difference between Commissioner Mervin, myself, or Commissioner Gonzalez talking to Mr. Richardson, why she's allowed, capable, she communicates, and we're not.
Let me
What-
just comment on that. Can you imagine if you're a state employee and you're in charge of all the public lands around the state of Florida, and you get individual commissioners like Commissioner Mervin calling you up, asking you details about a little tiny project in the city of Pahokee? Can you imagine how frustrating that is for a state employee to have to deal with that? And then to think that there might be 6 or 7 other people from the city of Pahokee calling the same guy, questioning what the last guy was told. It's ridiculous. You need one person to deal with the state on each issue. Commissioners shouldn't be calling the state. It's ridiculous.
So, Mr. Brandenburg, I just called the state one time. I have
One time's
200
too many.
I have 200 emails from Brad Richardson, from you, Mary Dobro, from Gonzalez. He got a call from Regina, and also from Sarah Perez.
No, the
And
commissioner
and
should be
listen,
calling him.
And Robert Lambert. So you telling me,
shouldn't.
and the only reason I called him one time, because when you sat here and said that the JPDT.
I'm sorry, but isn't it my time?
Yes,
Because I think she
JPDT.
talked for the last
I have to
hour.
correct.
So
let me
it's my
correct him,
time now.
please.
Mr. Mayor?
No, where's
You
your
need her to
gavel
quiet
now?
down.
Let me
Where's
correct
your
him for the
gavel
line.
now?
From the, I
She
have to
jumps
correct
in
him.
anytime she wants.
She-
It's my time.
I'm correcting him. He
understand
called
that.
me
It's
we-
out.
my
But
time.
you
I
may-
don't need you to
Sarah,
correct
be
me.
quiet.
Go ahead,
Because
Sarah.
I'm not
He
anybody.
He called me out.
As soon as she,
He
I
called
was
he
asking him a question.
interjected
He called me
Commissioner
out, so I gotta
Mervin's
correct
name,
that.
and that's why she
So
kind of got
that's why,
back in
and
here.
I, and so that's why I called, because you sat there and you
Come on,
told
get
a
control of the
lie
meeting, Keith.
that JPDT,
We know
that
you're gonna run for
ERH can
mayor
only
next
do
year.
a
You get control
contract.
of when you
Believe
get
me,
there.
I
I
have
called
the gavel,
Brad
I control
Richardson
it.
to,
Yeah,
to
you
just
won't get
to,
the chance, though.
to just to clarify that.
I'm
doesn't
sure
he
I could take the gavel and take
that's
control.
But
what
you
that
won't get
was.
the chance, that's the
For
thing.
everybody that's looking on Facebook, now you see what we go through. I don't have an anger management. I don't. I just want fairness up here. Okay? You don't get to see the audience, you only get to see what's up here. I have to speak out, or else I would just be sitting here all night without saying nothing, with the lies flying all over the place. I cannot interject, but other commissioners could interject all night long on anybody that speaks up here. You speak back to the manager, you speak out to the attorney, you speak back to everybody, even with the audience. But when it's somebody else's turn, then you wanna interject. So, you might as well run for mayor.
You called my name.
I didn't call your name. I said when I was chastised up here. I want to know the difference because you speak, you
So tell me.
communicate
That's
with
why I called.
Richardson. You speak to Richardson as many times
No,
as
I
you
didn't.
want to.
No, I
But
didn't.
because we did it one time because I wanted to know what the deal was, and I wanted clarification because because of something that was done to me.
And that's what I did.
I
called for clarification.
thought that I was called up there as a commissioner because they were gonna have something, not to be set out for what they
And
set
then
me
I called
out.
for clarification.
Okay, well, it's clarified. It's clarified. My only question was because in this commission, I was told like I was out of line and that was not my place to call and talk. But yet, she's a commissioner and she's ad-lib to do it. That's the only clarification that I wanted to have on that behalf.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
Another thing that I want to say. I do not appreciate the fact, okay, that you have Major Bab and you have Commissioner Mervin, okay? They sit up here, they not only lie up here, they go
No, if you
on
call-
Facebook. Let me finish it, because it's my time.
Yeah, but you out of order calling a person a liar without any factual background.
I'm saying I do not appreciate when you guys get out there You might not be on Facebook, but you got people that do Facebook for you.
Oh, I don't.
Yes, you got your little secretary there
I don't know how to do
that
nothing
you're
for me.
you're grooming, but she doesn't know, she don't got no chance of being elected in this
She
city.
don't want to be here.
God willing, because she wants her 3 minutes of fame in this dais, all for political reasons. Yeah, I'm gonna sit here and I'm gonna speak out. And you know what? I'm gonna do my 3 years, and if at the end of the 3 years, the citizens that voted for me do not think that I'm worthy of another 3 years, I will respect their decision. Amen to you, sister, if you think so. Another thing, you know, and not only that, how you sit up here and you excuse everything that went on during the past administration. You have a reason, you have an excuse, you have, you know, there's always something that you have to defend, but that's fine, we all know why. As far as Ms. Batiste, okay, you said that we were in the surplus, and then he comes in and we don't have any money.
Did you say that?
Do we have money?
I know it.
Do we have money?
Yes, but something that's going to have to be addressed pretty soon. The prior city manager, right before I got here, handed out raises like a drunk sailor and added $354,000 to the budget and had no way to pay for it. So it will be something we have to address in the near future.
But the city was in a surplus. We had money, but go ahead. And you talk about raises, you got $1,000.
Surplus.
$80,000.
I'm sorry, but I'm still talking. I'm sorry, I'm still talking. It's my time.
Yeah, it is, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. And the last thing that I want to do, I don't know if I had to put a motion or what, but I would like for the city to run and the marina and the campground. I think we could do it ourselves, and I think we could benefit from the revenue that it generates. Instead of getting grants and handing it to other people, I think we should get the grants or whatever we could do for that, and, you know, provided that we hire the right person to run it, a person with the right qualifications. Is that a motion?
That would be a motion for the city to look into and bring back a recommendation with regard to the city running the marina and campground.
Amen to that. I want to put that motion. Do I get a second?
I second it.
It has been moved by Commissioner Perez and properly seconded by Commissioner Gonzalez to have the city look into the possibility of running the marina and campground themselves. Call for questions.
I have a question. How does this affect what we just did with ERH?
Well, right now, ERH, we've gotten a determination from the State Division of Lands that would have to be rebid. I understand that there may be some additional discussions to try to work with that issue, but as far as we know at this point, there are none. So all we're doing here tonight would be for the city to look into the possibility of running the marina and campground, come up with a budget, projected revenues, and see if the commission would like to go forward on that basis. So there would be no effect on your relationship at this point.
So I have a question for the city manager. We had in our budget this year projected that we would need to transfer $136,000 to the Marina Campground Fund to just maintain it the same way we have been. Is that correct?
Is if everything goes perfectly, it will only be that 136. There's a lot of need there we have to address, but I believe we can do it.
This is just open for discussion, right? For the next meeting?
No, she's talking about a motion.
I mean, it's for the next meeting though, right?
I have a
The motion
question.
would be to bring it back a proposal at your next meeting or, you know, a future meeting. And it would lay it all out. You're not making any final decisions tonight.
Okay, okay.
We gotta look at the cost, what we will generate, and
Question, actually, there don't need to be, I mean, it's on the table and have a second, but they don't need, it doesn't need to have a motion for the city to run it. We can do that now. What would happen if it's successful and we operate it correctly, then we don't need to go out for an RFQ or RFP, whatever you want to call it, for the operation. Right now, it's our responsibility to run it and manage it as it stands now. The only question is, whether we're going to do a future RFP. Now, currently, to be honest, JPDT Holdings indicated in their original lease that they wanted to have the opportunity to run the campground and the marina as well as the restaurant. They wanted to do all three of the entities, but that's something down the road that you can consider extending that or doing an RFP for it. But at this point, we can hire the staff. We have a city manager that can come up with a budget, a staffing for it, that we can actually operate it. Let's keep in mind that for the marina, we need a minimum of a dock master, someone who can professionally help manage that, and we need staffing for at least that part of it. And the campground, we can use our regular staffing for some of the maintenance of it, more on the property and other things of that nature.
Mr. Chair, something to take in consideration too, if the commission choose to move forward with it, is anybody that we want to recruit and retain will want some longevity. So if it's going to be open every 6 months, every year to a lease, it's going to be hard to attract that person. They're going to want to be able to come here for a job that's going to last a while. So if you leave it open to a lease every so often, it's going to be hard to get the right person here. So if you choose to make a motion for a length of period or for an unended period for the city to operate, after we do this study, and if you choose to act on it, it'd make it much easier to recruit.
Yeah.
And I think the most important thing isn't getting a person, it's getting the right person, and that's going to take a little bit.
I guess my other question would be, right now, less than probably half of the campground is usable. Is that correct?
There's a significant portion of the campground that can't be used because of the utilities.
So how are we going to generate any more money unless we have a grant or something that we're...
Right now, we're working to be certified as a clean marina and a safe harbor marina. We've started that already. I think some marketing would really help out. We need to fill those campsites. Ms. Carter tells me that she can fill them all if we can get the utilities fixed.
And the utility issue was resolved before. I negotiated a deal with Palm Beach County to resolve that. And then after the city fired me, no one even looked at the deal or even considered trying to go back to the county to open up the rest of that campsite. It's been sitting there empty. And the city has not been getting any revenues because no one had the effort to even go do it.
There's a bill being paid now. They did negotiate with the water department. It was, and this was actually over 10 to 12 years ago, these bills. But I think there was negotiated through the county. In fact, they're paying like 100, I don't know what the amount they're paying for that bill, but they did lower it down. But there's a monthly payment.
The money we owe the county. The county's not paying anything.
I didn't say the county, I said the city is paying a bill, because it was the county, had a big tab on the water company.
They still do.
They can't, yes, they do. It was over 200-something, yeah, you know, it was like 10, 12, 13 years ago. Yeah, you were here.
Part of the,
right.
Part of the utilities.
And, but I know they negotiated a payment, a deal. They cut it down to like $100-some-thousand, I think. And I'm not mistaken, the city, but I don't know about now, there's a monthly payment should be paid to the county. I know that was done when I got here in 2016.
Chamberlain never followed through with that deal. The deal was never followed through on.
Yes, it was, but we approved it here. We approved it in the city commission, Mr. Brenver. You were here.
And that it didn't happen. Because your administrator
It-
didn't
it's-
follow
it
through
happened.
on it.
Okay, like I said, I don't just take word. I will call the county tomorrow. I can get that
Well,
information.
please, we just had a conversation about 7 or 8 people all calling the
No.
same person to get information.
Yeah, I have
Didn't
a
we?
call. Yeah.
Okay, so you just go
I
ahead and
have
do what you
another
want.
question.
Commissioner, the utilities I was referring to is when they had permanent traders down there, to my understanding, the last leasee, when they pulled them out, disrupted the water lines,
It
the
was-
sewer lines, so that's
It's
what.
a dam. It was about 12, 13 years ago. Exactly. I know exactly.
And something that's popped up recently, the county has a new ordinance for backflow preventers. So I'm going to reach out to the county because they want the city to put one on every campsite, which my understanding, it has to be on a metered line. These are not. We have a 3-inch main that has a meter, and it does have a certified backflow on it. So I'm going to be reaching out to the county next week and seeing what we could do to remedy this issue, because it would save the city approximately $50,000 to keep from doing it.
As a matter of fact, all of that was brought up in this meeting before about the lines and stuff. I remember it.
Also, I have, we're supposed to be getting 200, 300, I don't know, I don't remember the amount, for infrastructure. So couldn't we use some of that money, like,
3 million.
It's $3 million.
Oh, $3
And we
million.
should get the first $1.5 million in a week or so. And it would be a great opportunity to revitalize our marina as long as it meets the criteria. That is a wonderful opportunity to enhance our infrastructure.
because that
and to
will
get the
start
marina up to par.
generating revenue?
It's just to make sure we meet compliant with the money.
Well, that's considered infrastructure, you know, road, electricity, maybe Wi-Fi, whatever needs to be done.
In general terms, it can be spent on potable water, sewage, storm runoff, broadband, and roads. We're
There you
fortunate-
go.
We're fortunate because the city doesn't have much of those, it's the county, so we get to pick a little bit more where we want to aim this, and that's something that will be coming to you in the future for the commission to put together a plan and where to spend this money. I know $3 million sounds like a lot of money. It is not. We need to be very careful, precise, and where we spend it to make it go as far as we can.
We
Yeah.
have a motion and a second on the floor, whether we need it or not. It can be withdrawn if it's appropriate or inappropriate, but I want to move
What's
this.
the motion again, too?
The motion was to have the city operate the marina and the campground, which really doesn't require a motion.
No, the motion was to allow the city staff to report back a plan so that the commission
That's the
can
same thing.
determine. No, it's
No,
not
it's
the same
not.
thing, not even
What's the
close.
difference?
The difference is you
you're
just
doing
said
one.
to operate it. That's not what the motion was. The motion was to have staff look at it and prepare a proposal.
thing.
It's
Commissioner
not even
Perez
close
said
to the
let's
same
stick to Ryan.
thing.
Okay.
Okay, so the motion, if it goes through, means that staff will give you the opportunity
Commissioner Perez, what was
to
your
look at
motion?
all the ins and outs of it and then make
No,
a
I wanna
knowledgeable
consider
decision
running
on
it,
whether
but
you
I
want to
also
go.
wanna
That's the
know
same
what's
thing to you.
the pros and
Yeah.
Right,
cons.
but
It
you
is.
said the city
Yeah.
run.
That's
Yeah.
why the city
Yeah,
hasn't
that's what I
run
thought.
very well for the last 26 years.
Yeah. Just look
Okay.
at the record of the last 6. Look
Yeah,
at it closely,
I have.
very closely.
I have. You've wasted money, thrown away opportunities, barely spent the money you got on time,
You were here.
and wasted it all.
Look
for the
close
last
at the
6
last
years.
6 years.
Yeah, that's what I
Okay,
would say.
I have a question. Are we talking about putting together a proposal that's going to tell us what we're going to have to spend to get this campsite and marina up and running? And are we going to put together a proposal for running both of those things 24/7, 365? Because right now, we have a campground that's open like 9 to 5. And I don't know what day, there must be a day off or something.
Most campgrounds do not have staff at night. There'll be one on call like we have, but it'll be a comprehensive plan on possibilities. I think it's too early to get into the infrastructure and just what can happen. But it's definitely out there. But we'll do a study, put a comprehensive plan together, and see if we can gain some revenue from it. I'm sure.
Okay, will you put together costs and projected expenses?
To the best of our ability.
Okay,
Well, it was just for discussion, right? Nothing that we're gonna vote on. It's just a discussion,
to have them put a proposal together?
just to see it. We're not gonna vote on it now. We're just gonna,
Well, you're
We're just
voting
voting
tonight
on the
and asking
proposal.
staff to put together that proposal.
For you to look at.
And then
Then we make a
obviously,
decision,
nothing
right?
happens until you look at the proposal and then decide if you want to pursue it.
okay.
Okay.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, are you ready for a vote? Roll call, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Perez,
Yes.
Commissioner Gonzalez,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Boland,
Yes.
Commissioner Mervin,
Yeah.
Mayor Bab.
Yes. Motion passed by unanimous vote. Did that conclude your comments, Commissioner Perez, or you have something?
I just wanna, clarify something. In the event, I mean, as I understand, they're appealing that decision. In the event,
It's not really an appeal. They're just going to the person that is Brad Richardson's boss.
Listen, y'all talking in code when you're saying they, for my sake, the audience sake.
RH, whatever, what is the name of? ERH. Okay, so if the state says, you know, to give it back, and it doesn't have to go for RFP, do we?
Then it's still up to the city to negotiate a lease, if you want to, with ERH, just like it is up to the city to negotiate a lease with JPDT.
JPDT has a lease.
It's an inadequate, inappropriate lease, which gives the city zero.
Same,
Zero.
you wrote it, though. You keep saying that.
Are we gonna repeat
Huh?
that again?
Next comment.
If you compare the other two leases, you wrote it.
Yeah.
It's identical to what you was offering ERA.
How much money would you like to bet on that?
I'm not a bad man.
Oh, there you go.
Is it my turn?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm done.
Commissioner Bowe.
Okay. First, I want to thank the PBSO for bringing out the egg roll truck and the other things in the park. That was really good. I really enjoyed dinner that night. I didn't have to cook, so that was excellent. Also, the PBSO and the City of Pahokee Parks and Rec on October 29th, 6 to 9 p.m., right out here in the parking lot, I assume, is where we did it. It's going to have a fall festival, so for anybody who wants to do, it's like a trunk and treat, right? Okay, I'm looking back there because I know she's in charge. So if you want to participate, you just need to contact the PBSO. You can contact Tammy Bunting at 561-992-1261 and let her know what you want to put, whether you want to put your car there and open up the trunk and give the kids some stuff, you know, candy and goodies. We had a good time. I know the last time we did it, everybody had a great time with that. West Tech has free classes, if I understood from the meeting today, and it's on their website, and you can contact West Tech about what classes they have that are free that you can get. So for anybody who needs that. Crime Stoppers is going to do their bike run on October 24th. So for those of you who know, we usually have about 600 bikes, motorcycles that come to town, and we give them some cookies and some goodies and let them see the lake. So for anybody who would like to come out, please come out, stand there, wave at them, look at all the bikes. You can look, but you can't touch. October 24th. And they usually show up around 10 o'clock, I think, in the morning, somewhere around in there. But believe me, you'll know because you'll be able to hear them, because 600 motorcycles coming into Pahokee makes quite a bit of noise.
Where you get the cookies from? Who bakes them?
I bake them.
Oh, okay.
But I want to
Dixie does it.
talk about things going on in our community. And first, I want to say I'm a part of this community, and I love the people in our town, even the ones who think I don't love them. I've heard the community speak, and I want you to know that I don't have a hidden agenda. My agenda is the same as it's always been, to help the city of Pahokee be the best it can be. Having said that, I want to talk about some of the comments I've heard while I've been out talking to the citizens of Pahokee. Comments about how bad the meetings are and how they're out of control. And I agree. But I do not necessarily agree with the notion it's the commission causing the disruption. I believe we all can do better, from the commission not interrupting each other, to the audience not speaking out except for their 3 minutes, where they can say anything they want to everyone showing respect for each other, even if we don't care for the other person or we disagree with what they're saying. Some folks have told me I've changed, and you would too if you were in my shoes. I want to clean up the mess in this city and move us forward. I truly believe the choices that I've made are for the betterment of all of Pahokee, not one group over the other group, but everybody. I hope that in the near future you'll be able to see that was true and step up to help me do that. Thank you. And if you need me, you can call me 561-914-5886. Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. I'll hopefully be brief. I received an email from an entity that was working with this city, had a few questions. It was some information they needed, some language change to their contract or some clarification. I didn't even respond to the letter. I forwarded to Brendan Bird, which probably was a mistake. At 1:30 a.m. that morning, he responded to them saying that for them not to listen to the mayor doesn't have any authority, and anything he says will be rebutted and not fulfilled. I mean, that's, to me, is pretty ridiculous. Section 204 of the city charter outlines the mayor's duty. The mayor/commissioner shall preside at meetings of the commission and shall be recognized as the head of city government
You missed a word there.
for service of process, ceremonial matters, execution of contract, deeds, and other document. If we have an emergency in this city and it needs any attention or any clarifications, or there are any question, whether that communication is coming from the government of the state of Florida, which is the governor's office, or Palm Beach County commissioners, or the news media, the first person they contact is the mayor, not the city manager, certainly not the city attorney, but the mayor. I speak on behalf of this city. I don't overstep my boundary. City attorney is only hired at the pleasure of the commission. Commissioner Vice Mayor Bolden mentioned the fact that she received or have saw comments on social media and others talking about the disruption of the meeting. 95% of the disruption has came from Brandon Byrd and this commission as a whole. I would give the public maybe 5%, but it's our responsibility. This haven't occurred in the last 6 years other than to this recent year. That's where our problem lies. That's what we have to get straight. And I never thought that we would all agree, but this community, whether we want to believe it or not, is slowly being divided. And we need to work on that. The commissioner indicated that, you know, they're gonna do what they need to do for the next 3 years.
Yep.
And you have to do what you can do to move this city forward. But without criticizing anyone, and I've been here longer than anyone, this has been the worst commission as a whole and the worst staffing as a whole that I've ever saw us have. We'll fight against each other. We say we want the same goal
Because you don't get what you want.
and the same results, but we're doing it in a totally different manner. We say we're doing it for the whole and entire community, but we're only answering to a certain population and a certain segment of the community. We have to be accountable to everybody. Whether they voted for you or not, we have to at least attempt to answer their concerns. When I say they, I'm talking about others' concerns. We're elected representative, but we have to answer to the public. And we haven't been doing that. And we have to do things right and according to the rules. In the same questioning, we question everyone, even people we feel comfortable with. We have to question them. We're almost rubber stamping things that's happening in this city. And we only question people that we feel we either don't like or don't trust. But you question everybody till you make sure that whatever they're doing is doing it in a proper manner. But that's where we lie in this city, and it's just disheartening, and I think we can do better. I mean, we continue to point fingers, and it's okay to learn from the past, but we got folks here that's stuck in the past. Every opportunity, they're addressing the past. And I'm not saying you can't learn from the past, you have to, or you'll make the same mistakes, but at some point, you have to move the ball forward. You have to move it forward. And that's conclude my comments as a mayor commissioner. Commissioner Gonzalez.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that's an issue I want to bring up too. Tasha Mervin, Commissioner Mervin, said at the last meeting on September 28th that I was involved in this racial conversation on Facebook with this lady. I believe her name is Lisa Adams. So me and this other guy that was standing out in the audience, we met at City Hall. I showed him the comments. Nowhere was this Lisa Adams was involved in this conversation I had with another person. You read out the phone. You said you have an email.
I read the Facebook, I read it
Don't
to you.
interrupt, don't interrupt, don't interrupt. Okay, I gave you a time to interrupt you, okay?
Jesus, I read it to you.
You said you read it on Facebook. You brought up all these people that I was involved with this racial conversation. There was a guy, don't quit interrupting me. There was a guy out here that was sitting during the meeting. He met me at the City Hall. We looked at the comments. Nowhere was that lady found in those comments. Nowhere was any conversation was found like that, except for the conversation that I had with another particular person, yes. It was not racial. I didn't degrade a woman or anything. I called her by her first name, her birth name. There's nothing racial about that. And I have a problem with that. You constantly trying to, don't try to interrupt. You're always trying to divide the people here. All the attacks come from you. Personal attacks come from you. And that during that same time, you called us outside of our names. It's on video. You called us outside of our names. Mayor Babs, with all due respect, you didn't shut her up. You didn't confront her
You couldn't
about
shut
it.
me up.
You allow her to personally attack us all the time. As a mayor, I feel that you should take more order. I haven't disrespected you. I don't interrupt when people are speaking like you do, Ms. Mervin. This is constantly. Yes, there's too much bickering up here. I have people call me from different states that look at the videos and say there is too much bickering out here. But to take the blame for the division, I'm not going to take not 1% of the division. Okay? I don't know how you see me. You don't know my background. Did you know I'm part black too? Did you know that? No. But you want to imagine me as just a typical Hispanic. That's the way you have me labeled. You don't know nothing about my background. All you know is trash talk about me or anybody else. When have you ever came up here and talked about something positive to be unified? You don't do it. This is basically in every meeting that we have. It's like clockwork. We already know what's going to happen. You don't do stuff like that. It's like he said, like Mayor Bass says, we need to work together. All this bickering has to stop. The community sees what we're doing up here. You think they don't see the obvious, like we're different races up here? And then you have the specialty group that's against this other group because they assume that this other group is about something else? Well, they don't know the facts, but you do. And you constantly fuel the fire. You constantly do it. As a commissioner, you should take more accountability and watch what you say on social media and start bringing the community together.
I tell the truth.
Yeah, so far you haven't. And also, about telling the truth, you said right here, where's it at? At 3:10, on that meeting at 9/28/2021, you said you never lie. Miss Annie Core just called you a liar.
Okay, let me read.
I just called you a liar.
Okay.
No, we're not going to discuss that. It's my time,
You don't
not your
wanna
time.
hear it.
This is not your time. This
You
is not
read
your
the
time.
truth.
Do not interrupt me. I don't interrupt you. I respect you. This is enough. And a lot of people know that I say enough is enough. It's no more BS around here. We're either united for the city, or we're just not here to be commissioners for anything. What? For the paycheck? A lousy paycheck? We're not doing this for the money. We're doing this for the city. As a matter of fact, I'll challenge you. I'll donate $100 of my commission's check every month to the day I get out and get to the city for the kids, for the youth. I challenge you to match that $100 a month.
And your church.
Okay? Are you willing to do that? Since you're for the people. So far you aren't for the people. You're dividing us. Put your money where your mouth is at. I'll donate in front of everybody $100 of my paycheck every month till I get out. I challenge you to do the same thing. Since you're for the community. I'm about the community. I'm not about the money. And then, you know, as you're aware, paycheck isn't nothing. It's not a big paycheck.
It sure isn't.
Okay then. So match me on that $100.
That don't make me, but you called
Match me
a
on that
liar.
$100.
You called me a liar.
Yes, I
right?
did.
Let me read, this says, what does, Commissioner Perez, can you read this for me? And whose name it says on top?
Hold on. It's my time. What are you doing?
I'm just saying, you called me a liar.
Yes.
There it
I
is
did
there.
because you said I had a conversation with this Lisa Adams.
If you care to read it.
There it is there.
This isn't Lisa Adams. This
No,
is
you told me
this
I
is
ain't
something else.
called.
That's a total different story. That's a
I'm gonna
different,
show you
that's a
Lisa
different
Adams
subject.
on too.
We're talking about this right here. We're not talking about an individual who can't defend himself.
I'm saying you called me a liar on this.
I
I'm
did
showing
because you said I had a conversation with
I'm
Lisa
finna show you- I'm
Adams.
going to show you yours on Lisa Adams too.
Okay, I want to see Lisa Adams. I did not see Lisa Adams
ahead.
in that conversation.
Mayor Bad with me.
When it was, I apologize to the city. If you think we're divided, we're not divided. Just pay close attention who are the ones out in the dais causing all the commotion and all of the division. Use your common sense.
Yep.
Can I address the lies that the first one was Annie Core? She called me out. I just want to read what she said here. Only for the
You had your time.
Time's up, Mayor, with all due respect.
I like,
It was right, Mayor.
yeah, I second
It
it.
was right.
Mayor, they can adjourn it, but I'm going to read it for the record because she called me out
Mayor, you have a motion
on
and a
this.
second on the floor.
It was right.
And it said Annie Core. And I want to know, it said, listen up, all people of Pahokee that signed the petition. Tasha Mervin is breaking the law. If she called you, just hang up and get in contact with me, because she don't supposed to be calling you and give me a minute, because the lawyers are, and the voter supervisor are going to take care of this. Whoever see Tasha Mervin, see, they don't want to hear the truth. Tasha Mervin.
You should have done
Tell-
that when the
that's
lady
what-
was here,
I
not
was
after
trying
the
to.
fact. When you did it the first time, she wasn't here. She